was a Superstock Plus bike you were on, so this gives you a fighting chance.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, the bike definitely gives a fighting chance. Plus, we've got the 600 this year. We had no Supersport last year. But looking at the grid this year, I think it's the best grid we've had. Obviously, mine is Glen. If you look at the grid we've got now, I think it's one of the best grids that's been here for years, to be fair. So I think there's going to be more than one man running in the front. I think there's going to be a bit of a train of us and some slipstreaming going on.
I think you've got the fastest ever lap on a Superstock around the course. Little bits of it have been resurfaced. The weather forecast is set fair. Lap records are surely going to go this week, Dean.
Well, yeah, Alton Park, the same the other day. The lap records there were just insane, and the pace there. So I feel it's going to be the same here, which I'd rather it be a bit slower, to be honest.
Slow down as you get older. What's your best chance on the 600 or on the bigger bikes?
Do you know what? No, I feel like I've got a good chance in them all. I feel like I can fight in all the races this week. I've had a run out of all the bikes this year so far, so I've changed quite a few bits on the big bikes. I've had a little bit less time on the super bike than I liked, but we can't help the weather. And I'm going to try and make some changes in this session now and try and get off to a good start, let's say.
The bike, is it one that has been built for you, or is it one of the Tommy Bridewell, Andrew Irwin bikes from BSB?
No, this is actually my last year's TT bike. So this is the bike that's built specifically for me, BSB spec, so it's ready to go.
All right, Dane, well, we wish you luck this weekend. I hope to see you on top of that podium, and with that I think we can hand back to Stephen and Philip.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, Philip, look, you know all about what it takes to win a superbike race around the Northwest 200. So what has to be absolutely perfect to win that blue ribbon race?
Well, first of all, the weather. We've got that, so that makes it much safer. We talked earlier about the newcomers and the boys out there now, but what's really great about all this practice today and hopefully tomorrow leading into the race is that in a lot of this, when you predict it's going to rain this afternoon, it's going to rain tonight, when's it going to come on? So you're trying to put some fast laps in to qualify the minute that road dries. So you're not really concentrating on getting your bike set up. But now they know hopefully it's going to be good, so they can work, they can get the suspension a little bit, they can tweak a little bit and stuff. With the dry roads, they'll be starting to brake at the right point, whereas in the wet you're braking maybe 100 metres early. So it makes a massive difference, this dry track. So the boys will get out, they'll get the gearing right, they'll get the suspension right, they'll get the braking right, and then they'll work on some lap speeds, But I think probably like someone else has just said earlier, this is a pretty open competition this week, because the superbikes, there realistically is at least probably 5 of those boys all fit to win it, and if we want to put it down to determination, grit and hunger, Michael Dunlop has to be at the top of that pile. But Davy Todd, I've been watching him, he's coming here with confidence. He had 3 wins here last year, and Glenn Irwin picked him in the 2 superbikes, so he really wants to prove a point. But he's got a new bike and he's got a new team, so will that all gel? Will he be happy with the team? Will there be a little bit of there will be people wanting to change things. There'll be a mechanic think this is better, he's a rider, he'll think no, this is better, then you get his mate Peter Hickman, he's going to be saying well no, this is better. So there'll be a competition in that team to get it right. It won't be to beat each other so much as to get your bike right.
And with new tarmac obviously down at the Link Road, a lot of resurfacing there, and these guys start to lay rubber down on the track. Do you expect lap records to go here this week?
Yeah, there will be. Well, with the preparation, we've never really had preparation like this in the last years. I heard Michael Rudder talking about it earlier. In 1992, he remembers the sun starting. Well, the 92 was my famous day. So I remember the sun, and I remember the dry years, and then 10 years of wet. So it's just going to make so much difference. If you have your bike set up in the first practice, then you'll speed up in the second session, you get faster in the third session, and come the race, you'll be on lap record from the first lap. The tarmac, it's been down now a few weeks. I think it's all bedded in pretty good. The worst of the oil and the shininess hopefully will all have gone out of that by now, so there'll be maximum grip. So it's going to be a tough it's going to be a good fast session for everyone.
And within the field here, there are, yes, a lot of full-blown factory superbikes. Honda have obviously superbikes. Michael Dunlop's got his superbike. Todd Hickman. But could a Superstock machine still perform as well and hit those superbikes here in that class? Do you think?
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking Alistair Seeley. Well, Alistair, as you know, he's the biggest winner here at the Northwest 200. You know, he's got the wins, he's got the experience. And that's not forgetting, he's just not a midget. You know, in real terms, he's a midget. So if you put a midget on a super stock, he will be able to match those super bikes.
Okay, we shall see. Hasn't had a superbike win here since 2017. 4 of them he's had in the past. But Philip, you mentioned the newcomers. Lots of them here out on track, enjoying the weather on the north coast. It wasn't as quite a good weather earlier on this year when they all came over for a visit to Northern Ireland, and we caught up with them.
A new group of riders with different backgrounds and experience hope to be selected for the 2025 event. Among this year's hopefuls are British Superbike riders, previous Manx Grand Prix winner Joe Yeardsley, and others who are just starting their road racing career. To guide them, there is no one who knows the circuit better than 11-time winner Glenn Irwin.
I travelled British Superbike 6 days ago, and I travelled here. That's my greatest achievement in racing.
Alongside Steve Plater, Glenn Irwin has been asked to share his knowledge and experience to this year's newcomers.
To be asked by Mervyn and the Northwest 300 team to come along and assist the newcomers with experience, stuff I picked up over the years, keeping them safe. Yeah, just passing on my general experience. My love for the event, I think that seeps through every time we talk about the Northwest 300, and I can see that the lads are all very excited about making their debut here.
Now they're back with the 2 main protagonists, and look at this, side by side. One out gets the slipstream, the other one outbreaks him.
I think it's just so unique in the way the big straights and the slipstreams and all that sort of thing.
You can't compare it, any sort of short circuit, you can't compare it, everyone tells me, and I'm not trying to. But yeah, all my biggest kicks come from the big, fast corners, and obviously the roads, that's the bits I'm mainly looking forward to doing.
Lights out, and away we go.
The mass start is also makes it a bit more exciting, doesn't it? TT are at the clock here, it's a mass start. Obviously it's one of the easier ones, I'd say, to learn the course where you're going, because it's got 2 big straights and it's a triangle, isn't it, you know, with the chicanes and stuff, but there's also a lot that can catch you out. I'm just going to do my homework and keep watching on board, put as much homework in as I can.
As a race, I think you're a bit impatient, you just want to get riding really, so yeah, obviously take in all I can from them, and then yeah, try and put it into practice when we arrive.
It's actually a good corner and a good curve, just release the brake, run through, especially when you're learning, but be very careful at that negative camber, that is your enemy. It's just giving the guys an insight into all of the chicanes, all the blind spots, all the negative parts, as well as the positive.
It's good to have the guys here because those are the future of our sport at the end of the day. Those are the guys who are going to be standing on the podium in a few years' time. So we have a really good cross-section of guys from throughout the world itself. So we're really pleased to see those guys coming along at May and just enjoying the whole event.
And there's no better way to end an intense day of learning than a boat trip taking in the sights of the Causeway Coast.
I suppose anyone that does road racing is always looking at the Northwest 200, just chase the dream. I mean, I'm not the youngest man here, but it's not going to stop me giving it a go.
It's really nice when people want to come and put all that effort in to visit Northern Ireland and to visit Northwest 300. Nice blend of people, and they're all great lads. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
And it just adds to the unique flavour of this racetrack and the event, of course, as we look down on pit lane as everybody gets ready at the end of the newcomer session that's just been out there. And I've got to say that Peter Hickman is a man that we've not spoken about that much, and one of the reasons might be, Steve, is because he's yet to podium in Superbike here.
I know, yeah, which is strange because he is speed-wise right up there. He's certainly his lap times around here, so he is another one like Dean Harrison, desperate to be up there on that Superbike.
Good to see Honda's here with Superbikes this year, though, instead of super stock bikes. That should make a major difference. Let's go down and speak with Lee Johnson then, because he's got Jamie Coward with him. Well, I spoke to Jamie earlier, and he says if he gets on the podium this year, that's it, he's done, was the quote I hear. Over to you, Lee.
I'm down here with Jamie Coward from KTS Racing. First time back in 3 years, Jamie. A little bit excited, a little bit nervous. How are you feeling?
You know, it's like you've been away from somewhere for 3 years. It's more nerves at the moment, but once we get down this course road, this first half a mile or whatever, we'll be alright. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back there. Gods have blessed us with some decent weather as well, which is nice. So, and the good for us as a team, all the teams and spectators, and obviously all the personnel and stuff, and everyone involved in the event. It just makes a massive difference.
Yeah, it should calm the whole team down a little bit, not having to worry about missing sessions with the rain and things like that. But I believe you're just running a super stock bike in both classes, so that should help with bike time as well.
Yeah, I don't believe for myself I'm a warrant of superbike as yet, because I feel like there's still more potential to come out of the super stock bike. But yeah, we're just running the same bike in both classes, which will double up on time, so we should have after today we should have a pretty good direction of where to go. You know, the new BM's been going really well. Everywhere I've been to, I've been as fast as I've been before, so I'm just really looking forward to getting going, to be fair.
Yeah, I believe you've got some factory support as well now with the Triumph 765, so going to be really strong in that class as well today.
Yeah, we should be, yeah. I've not had much time on it really this year. Up to present, we've done a few tests in Spain, but yeah, the bike itself's really strong. It's proven in BSB at the weekend, obviously, and the World Supersport as well. It's with Tom Bouvemos, it's going really strong, and not in my wildest days, I think I'll be factory supported Triumph riders, we say. But yeah, we've worked hard to get to this point as a team, and yeah, we'll just see how we go.
Yeah, well, good luck, Jimmy, and enjoy the good weather and enjoy being back at the Northwest 200.
Thank you very much.
Down here with the fastest barista here at the Northwest 200. No doubt you've been dishing out the coffee this morning, Connor. Connor Cummins, 19 years at the Northwest 200. Doesn't feel like 5 minutes ago since you made your debut.
No, it feels like yesterday, so yeah, been coming a few years now. I love coming to the North Coast, especially when you wake up on days like this. It's an amazing place to be, so I'll have a rattle around the Northwest 200 course today and see how we fare up.
Well, the team this time with John Burrows and the RK Racing Machine, got to stand a reasonable chance of being there or thereabouts in the big right races, Connor?
Yeah, I very much believe so. We've done the lads have put a lot of preparation time in over the winter, and I've worked my behind off over winter as well, and I'm ready to go. The bikes are good. We'll see what happens, yeah.
There has been some resurfacing around the track, and what with the weather being set fair and whatever, we're expecting some pretty insane speeds here this weekend. The lap record's likely to go and what have you. Looking forward to the track in the current condition?
Yeah, I had a lap around last night in the van, just to sort of see where these patches have been put in, and of course the roundabout up on after Link Road, and yeah, just to sort of get my eye in. I think if last year was anything to go by, it's going to be fast no matter what, and I just hope I'm in the mix.
Yeah, I'm sure you will be, Connor. Well, good luck this week, and let's just hope that you can get that elusive first victory as well.
I'll do, yeah.
Thanks, Connor.
Thanks very much there to Larry and Connor Cummins. Connor Cummins, it's funny, it's still only 38 years old. I mean, if we look at the entry list, I mean, a lot of these guys very experienced now, quite a lot of them north of 40, which may be surprising in the modern age of motorcycle racing where everybody's so young, it would seem nowadays. Experience counts when you're on the road.
I do think they should have got Lee Johnson to do that interview next. We wouldn't have seen him, would we, next to Connor? But Connor had a tumble I saw at Alton Park.
He did.
Fortunately, he's perfectly okay, and looking forward to this weekend. But yeah, he's a big fella, and as I think Philip McCallum alluded to, smaller is better around here because it is really about speed. You've got to be faster on the coast road, we know about that, but getting yourself tucked in, the weight factor.
And yet, it is a fella like Peter Hickman who wins the Super Twins, which is slightly surprising in the circumstances.
Absolutely. Interesting that there's slightly more BMWs here than Hondas. In British Super Stocks, it's more Hondas than BMWs, but quite honestly, it is interesting to see how many BMWs are around here. But Stephen is down there with Jerry Parker in the paddock.
Yeah, there are so many international teams here in pit lane, but there are superb local teams as well. Jerry Parker owns one of them, Parker Transport Racing. Is that yeah? Tell me a little bit about this team, who you've got on board this year.
We have Jamie Kringle from Le Mans, so Mike Schrader over for us this year and is a newcomer. And then we have Andrea Maioli from Italy. So Andrea's been here before, this is his second go. So
yeah. Explain your passion for motorcycling and this event, Jerry.
Yeah, it's a local event for us. It's a big international, so between the Northwest 200 and the TT, that's our big goal. So it's the biggest part of the year, so we've made a big effort this year to get these boys out, and the weather's good, so all.
Well, you gave us a tour around your team yesterday. Just take a look at those bikes. They look absolutely magnificent. You certainly won't miss them out there anyway, Jerry.
Hopefully not, no. So no, as long as they get around and the weather's good and everybody enjoys it, and good festival,
down here for the week.
And Jamie Kringle making his debut there, so he's been out on track this morning.
He's been on track, he's just not back in yet. So I run the 2 Kringles, so Jamie and Ryan ride for me, and we'll ride again at the TT.
And here's your other rider. Come in and see us. Enjoying the sunshine here?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect day or perfect. I can't wait to go.
How many years is this you've been coming?
My third year.
Third year here now. So trying to grow and improve every time you can.
Exactly. Now we try with a new tank for the DD setting, and we'll see. We'll see.
What do you think's possible here for you this week? What are you looking from your own performance?
For the race, I don't know. Probably we have a good chance to make a good position with a super sport. Now we see with a super bike. We try for the setting, you know, and we'll see.
How much do you enjoy this event here in Northern Ireland?
It's beautiful event. You know, the organization is perfect for the moment. The time is good. The guys is very perfect, all perfect for the moment.
You've got a smile on your face.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for joining.
Thanks to you.
Thanks a lot. Jerry, and thanks very much to you as well. Good luck with the team this week. Thank you.
So then the atmosphere builds down in pit lane, and you got the Italian version of it just there as well. And from up here in the commentary position, we're right by the coast, right by the side of the track. We're looking down over these facilities and looking back up the coast road, waiting for it to light up with superbikes. And I can't believe, I said it when we came on air, I can't believe how nervous I still get after all these years of being at the side of a racetrack. I mean, it's home for us, it always has been, but the point is the excitement involved in it. It's ingrained, isn't it? It's just one of those situations where you can't escape that feeling in the morning when the curtains are bleeding the sunshine into the room, and it's still 5 o'clock and you want to be at the track.
I know. I kind of driving to the circuit this morning. We came in with you and Jenny. We all kind of went, well, wish we were riding today, really. Not at the speeds they're going to be going, but just be nice to have a lap or two on an open road around here. But I alluded to it right at the beginning that the circuit is in lovely, lovely conditions. And Jenny rode in with us this morning, and she's down there with Stephen Watson.
Yeah, Jenny, Superbike's out for their first qualifying session. Just how difficult are these bikes to set up?
Yeah, there's quite a lot to alter. You can change pretty much everything on them. Obviously, the few guys are going out super stockers, so they're a little bit more limited. But the Superbikes are very, very adjustable. You can change literally everything. You can turn it inside out practically. You can change head angle, swing arm pivot points, the length of the bike, the complete geometry, the weight distribution, absolutely everything. And hence, testing is very, very important. You know, lots of teams will have been out in Spain testing and setting up the bikes, and then these sessions now, they'll just be able to refine those settings.
It always amazes me when you pop into the garage and the first thing you see a rider and their team doing with a Superbike is open up a laptop. No.
Yeah, it's all data logging these days, so you'll see the normally the crew chief going through all the squiggly lines. Basically, it is like Formula 1 these days. You know, they come back in, there's sensors for everything. So there's sensors for fork travel on the front, for rear shock travel, there'll be brake pressure, engine management system of fueling, something called air bleed, which is where basically the throttle gets opened as you go into the corner, just to keep the bike settled as you go into the corner. There's all sorts of parameters that the data technician will be looking at and adjusting. There's kind of a scope where you don't want to go out the window, so he'll be making sure the bike's in that window and making adjustments to suit the riders. The riders were very fussy, basically.
Are they really?
Each rider rides the bike differently, you know, so the rider wants to feel comfortable, so if the data guy can make the bike feel comfortable for the rider, they'll be going through those squiggly lines with the rider and setting up each parameter as hopefully just to make the bike feel more comfortable, especially around here. We drove in this morning, I was the same with Keith and Steve, and it's actually quite bumpy, so setting the bike up for these bumps is going to be the main thing.
And the long straights here, does that pose another problem that you don't get at other circuits?
Yeah, I mean, you can get an essence of weave because you're full throttle for a long time, so lots of the weight sort of sits on the back tyre, so the front can weave. And we've seen the advent of aerodynamics, and it's great to see all the wings. I mean, lots of people don't like them. I personally do like them because it's kind of the Formula 1 road, isn't it? And but that does add. It can add up to 23 kilograms of downforce on the front of the bike, and it does help. You know,
it enhances performance.
It can actually create a bit of drag, but it also puts the weight on the front. So stability-wise, when we see the guys go through the fast station corner when they're flat out, you know, you want you want to feel confident on the front of the bike, and the aero actually assists with that. You know, the weight's already on the front tyre, and you can feel that contact patch, and it helps the guys to go faster. So for whatever it's reducing essence of drag, it's made up in confidence on the bike, and the rider can just keep the throttle pinned.
And when we see the beautiful aerial shots of these racers on superbikes, it looks so graceful. But down on track, I'd imagine it does not feel like that at all.
No.
They're very difficult machines to handle.
Absolutely. It does look so serene, but it's like it is like wrestling a bull. Like trying to hold on to these things at that speed, and the wind resistance as well at that speed. If you it's the analogy of popping your head out the window of your car at, I don't know, even 70 on a motorway, you know, it wants to take your head off. So these guys have got to stay tucked in, and you'll see them running like tape on the hands to stop blisters on the hands, and trying to tuck in behind the screen just to save the muscles on the neck. And yeah, it's a lot more physical than it looks, definitely.
So strength is important, and the more physical the rider is, probably the easier it is to handle a superbike.
Yeah, definitely. From personal experience, when I moved from 125s up to superbike, the fitter I got, the better I rode. Exactly. The more strength you've got, especially upper body strength, to wrestle the bike, to hang on to the bike. Especially, it's not only accelerating, it's braking as well, because it's like doing a press up with 10 people on your back. And then here, because it is so fast, getting the bike to turn as well. Obviously, the bike with the gyroscopic forces, it just wants to go in a straight line. So to get the bike to physically move, there's a physical effort on the bars. It's funny because you don't see it, do you? The rider just looks like the bike's taking the rider, but literally the input comes from the rider to get the bike to turn.
And as Philip was explaining earlier, the superstock machines are easier to set up and could perform against these superbikes in that big class.
Yeah, absolutely. The good thing about the superstocks is there's less to change, so there's less to kind of get lost with, because you can go around in circles for the superbike, whereas the superstock you don't have that option. You know, the headstock is set, the swing on pivot is set, many of the parameters are set. You have to run lots of original manufacturer parts. There's nothing you can change, which I think is good, because out of the showroom the bikes are practically equally as fast. I think Steve said that they're literally 4 miles an hour down on top speed. You know, the 220 out of the showroom with a fuel system on there, and an ECU on there, and they're rapid. So superstockers, they're brilliant. You know, they can compete with the superbikes, and they can run the same tyres here, whereas British Championship, the superstocks are restricted to a treaded one mid tyre, you know, one compound tyre, whereas here they can run other tyres, so they can compete with the superbike.
Performance is one thing, the satisfaction in setting up a superbike, making it win, I'd imagine, is the ultimate dream though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, because it's all the marginal gains now, isn't it? So if you can see something that you can tweak a little tiny bit, then you're gonna play with it and mess with it and try and get it completely perfect.
Okay, Jenny, thank you. Well, the superbikes will be out on track very shortly.
Thanks, Stephen. Thank you, Jenny. One thing is for certain, I'd rather be on a superbike than a superstock at the end of the day. If you've got a perfectly set up superbike compared with a perfectly set up superstock,
if though is the factor, isn't it?
It is. And I think that the other thing, Steve, is as well, and you have done this many, many times, you turn up at a racetrack and you hope your default setting that you've turned up with is somewhere close. As soon as you cock your leg over the thing, this opening lap, when these guys go out for the very first time, they're going to find out whether their setup is anywhere near close. And if you're chasing your tail all the time in these sessions, these opening sessions, you're at a disadvantage by the time you line up on the grid. And that makes a massive difference. But getting it perfect on a day like this, I alluded to it earlier on, the weather is perfect, it's going to be set fair for the weekend, for the week, so at the end of the day, every little tiny adjustment you make will make this track faster and faster for you.
Yeah, the two key things that will be happening in this session is, firstly, don't break down, because you're going to lose the session, that's a nightmare, but most importantly, gearing is so important. A lot of people come here with all the data that they've had from previous years, but we used to spend hours changing sprockets, changing gearing, so gear ratio is absolutely right. And what you want is to get the maximum speed out of that bike, but you always have to leave a few hundred RPM in case of slipstream and towing, and people probably don't understand that. But if you ever watch Formula 1, you've got DRS, which opens the wing up, which is cheating in some ways, but a slipstream is very much like that. You get behind the vacuum factor that the bike in front is pushing a hole in the air, and you get sucked into it. So that's probably the most important. And then stability. There's no good having a fast motorcycle if you can't keep that throttle full open down those bumpy roads, and they're the two key factors. Then you start looking, I think, at you know, your fueling, your engine braking going into the corners, and finite things that go on from there.
Interesting too that for confidence factor, we're looking at Michael Dunlop here. Michael Dunlop likes working on his own motorbikes. We haven't spoken about Ian Hutchinson either. Yesterday he was working on his own bike because the confidence that gives you as well, knowing every intimate detail of your motorbike and how you're going to make those adjustments to get the perfect lap. This guy, like Joey, like Robert as well, his dad, were very, very good at working their motorbikes out for a racetrack, given any set of circumstances that they came across.
Sure.
Gives him confidence.
He builds the bikes, not only just works on, builds them from scratch most of the time. So that is very impressive.
Let's go back down then to pit lane for a bit more.
Well, I'm here with Bike 43, Stephen Degnan. Now, we met about 7 or 8 years ago when you were making your debut at the Northwest 200, aged 55. I mean, how was that for you back then?
Well, I remember the night well when you were talking. Davy Todd was there, Mike Norbury was there, Jamie Williams was there, Jonathan Perry was there, and then there was me at 55. And I remember it well because you went through an interview with everybody and you said, I know everybody's thinking this, so I'm going to ask, what's your age and what's your name? I said, well, I'm 55 years of age and I'm Stephen Degnan. And I just thought, I've done all the Irish Nationals, so it's time I started doing the Northwest 200. And at 55 years of age, I don't think I'm 55. I still think I'm 21 until I look in the mirror. And I remember saying to you, I just think one day I'm going to be another Michael Dunlop. I'm just a slow burner. And I'll just keep going at it. It's going to take a bit longer. But I'm still doing it at 62, and I'll be 63 next June.
And how close are you to being Michael Dunlop now, do you think?
About another 40 years. Another 40 years and I'll be with him.
And you'll still be coming here?
And I'll still be coming here.
And why at your age do you want to keep doing this?
Oh, this is the best in the world. This is the best place in the world. I've got no interest in the TT whatsoever, and I know I get slaughtered for saying this, but this place, nowhere like it, and that's correct. This is the best atmosphere, the best people, the best speeds, the best course. Everything is perfect for me. I love it. And everybody, I'm 62 years old and I'm walking around, and all the young ones are talking to me. Everybody talks to me as if I'm one of the boys.
You are.
Any other sport, I wouldn't get an entry anymore. They'd just say, oh no, he's too old. But Mervyn keeps giving me an entry, so I keep coming.
Yeah, and obviously our focus is on those big name riders at the front, like Dunlop, Hickman, Harrison, Brooks. But it's nice to come and talk to you guys because you help make this event as well. The fields are big here. There's a lot of interest right down the grids.
You know what I do? When all the fast lads come through, and then the medium fast lads come through, I give the fans something to watch at the end while they're waiting for the fast lads coming through again. And also, I think I represent men in the 60s and the 50s and even older who go, I wish I could have done it. And that man's doing what I wanted to do, but I never got the chance. So I've got the chance of grab it with both hands.
Well, I can feel the passion. I hope you feel the love out there when people see Bike 43 and give you a big cheer. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Thanks a million. You know I'll be calling you Michael Dunlop now from now on. Stephen, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
I think the impressive thing about that, apart from the fact that he's still performing in the manner that he is that he considers this to be a bigger event than the TT. And I think realistically, over the years, this has developed as a classic festival as well. It's spread out over a week. It used to be just a weekend event on a Saturday, but now, with the massive event that it's become for this part of the world, it really does compete. And it's always been a track session that sets up riders and motorcycles for the TT. It's always been the kind of considered before the warm-up for that. But I think a lot more people are thinking like Mr. Degner in as much as that, you know, this is the main event now for you.
No question about it. And there's a fella out there about a year younger than him, Miss Jeremy McWilliams, who could easily be on the podium and could be winning races. So he's still in with a chance.
He's a legend. Jeremy McWilliams is a legend. I hear he's actually been playing golf quite successfully. Somebody said he's now got a handicap of 8.
Has he really? Well, he always was a cheat before, so
well, I
maybe
think
he's
he still
worked
is.
it out. Yeah, but I might have a game with him. We go up to Bushfoot Golf Club up the road there, where the views are fantastic, and you're looking out over the sea there. So I'll be playing Jeremy, and I'll be checking out his proper handicap, because he can be a bit of a bandit. I'm surprised he doesn't turn up on a horse, actually.
With a mask. Here we are then, going up the hill from York Corner. So we've just done the York hairpin, that was typing up Mill Road now to the Mill Road roundabout. an awkward part of the course, if you ask me. It's the only part that I never really favoured, I must say. It was put in there for a good reason, but it steadies things up a little bit. But then you've got the flat-out drive down towards Station Corner as we look back from the coast road.
I'd say that Mill Road roundabout was put in to slow the bikes down, but it hasn't really worked because Station Corner was the place where you kind of had that knife against your throat, wasn't it? It was the dodgiest corner, I guess you could probably say, on the course. The one along with some of the others, but nevertheless, the bikes now accelerate so fast that they're actually reaching terminal speed virtually before they get there. They're doing 180 mile an hour when they arrive at that corner.
But that's the corner where time is made up, and I think that as this track rubbers in, as we get the temperature right, if it's not too drafty as well, because obviously wind makes a massive difference to your line through a corner like that that's so fast. And then we heard Jenny talking about the force of the wheels going round. Yeah, you can't turn the things. You have to put so much physical input into a motorbike to make it turn. Yeah. Especially if you're going from side to side along some of the coast road. Some of these corners here are really quick.
Absolutely.
And it's difficult to tip them in, but when that rubber's down, you've got grip as well as the aero that's giving you the assistance. I can see these lap records going out of the window. My concern will be if it warms up too much, is tyre longevity.
Yeah, pretty much everyone, there's one or two Dunlop riders here, but Metzler, the people that really have the bulk.
There's never been a problem, has there?
And they do have a different tyre for road racing, particularly here. It's a much harder centre compound. The side compound is pretty much the same as British Superbikes, but the centre is much harder. To get that, well, the heat that builds up in it when those 230 brake horsepower is trying to push that motorcycle through the air.
Well, it's because it's spinning so much over the bumps.
Yes,
the problem is it's not actually registering on the tarmac so much as the things are up in the air, and then the wheels turning faster than the bike's pushing forward quite often. So that centre gets unbelievably hot. It's like torture for tyres.
Yeah, it really is. It's hard to explain how much. You've got a tyre contact patch, probably about the size, we used to say a credit card, but they're bigger now. It's about the size of your phone, the bit that's on the road, and that is pushing that motorcycle through the air over 200 miles an hour, and it's constant for so long.
Well, I used to use nitrogen to fill a thing rather than actual air, because air expands, gets hot and so on, but nitrogen stays reasonably cool.
They actually do still use air now, but they suck all they make it a very dry air. That was the problem. They suck all the moisture out of it and run that in these tyres now. But over the years, if you think back, and it's only probably maybe 3-4 years ago, where the races all had to be short and there was all sorts of problems with tyres, but they seem to have overcome that now.
So, with the weather being, it's still cool on the racetrack. We're not in Mugello or Italian style of track temperatures at the minute, although I must say the wind has dropped from the last couple of days, and we are in some fairly nice...
Can I just say something? The first lap, Dean Harrison just went through at, well, I said a minute ago, 204, but somebody's just gone through the speed. Here's Dean Harrison, 204.7. First lap out there. Just finish your breakfast, lad, put your leathers on, and 204 mile an hour through the speed trap, first lap.
And it's going to be, I think Honda are up for it, you know.
There he is.
Javier Beltram, we were talking with him earlier on in the paddock. I mean, they're great expectations, I think. And this guy is due. I mean, there's been a bit saying that he's a favourite for a race win, perhaps his first. And he's certainly... It comes back down, doesn't it, to what I said earlier on. The fact is, if that bike feels right on the opening lap, which we can assume that at 204 mile an hour through the speed trap, he's obviously fairly comfy on it. And it's going to be a situation whether he can convert that.
Yes.
He looked very aggressive on this opening lap. I've got to say that... he's pushing everywhere already.
Yeah. Well, he knows the circuit extremely. He's third fastest rider guy around this circuit ever. 4:18, 124 mile an hour, 0.9, so basically 125 mile an hour average around it. That aerial shot showed you down the York hairpin there, and there's you've got Metropole, places like that, still averaging 225 miles an hour.
Keep an eye on this 34 bike, Alistair Seeley. Alistair Seeley is back, looking for his 30th win around this racetrack, and you wouldn't bet against him. He's on the Nick Morgan prepped MSS bike in the Supersport class, and he's running again, if you watch for the 34 machine, on the BMW, the SMS Nichols Oils BMW. lot of BMs here working well around this racetrack, and it will be about whether he can make it work for him.
Yeah, Jenny down there alluded to the wing factor, and the BMWs have the biggest wing of the lot. It's huge. And she's right, it does sometimes lose a little bit of top speed, but it makes the bikes more stable. And of course, most importantly, those big wings help it accelerate, because you just cannot give it that full amount of horsepower. It's electronically controlled, but you can add a bit more power in the lower gears because the front wing is holding the front of the bike down. And it does, at high speeds, up to 20 kilos of weight pushing down that front. Obviously a lot less at 80, 70 miles an hour, but nevertheless it does assist all the time in keeping the front wheel down.
Looking at the 53-year-old John McGuinness, and John McGuinness and Michael Rutter, if you're at trackside and you're listening to us, they will be up on stage tonight in the marquee here in the paddock. If you've not got a ticket for that, then £10, it will be well worth spent.
You'll be there interrogating.
Well, I will be alongside Stephen Watson, of course. We'll be there. Stuart Hickin there we're looking at, the famous Mallory Park owner and Hawk Racing team principal, staggering along pit lane, keeping an eye on what's going on. This man doesn't miss much, that's for sure.
You'll be talking about, because he bought you dinner, didn't he, recently?
He did. Yes, it was a dinner that we spent with Sir Robin Miller of Motorcycle News, you may remember, from going back a little bit. John Cooper, the legend that is John Moon-Eyes. Indeed. So, a fantastic lunch put on by Stuart Hickin here. And Stephen Hickin will be here in the paddock as well, I'm sure. It's a family affair. But John McGuinness, Rebecca McGuinness to one side as well, just a moment ago, looking a little bit serious, John, I've got to say. I don't know whether he's had a slight problem in that opening lap that he's just done, but normally it's like an installation lap, that first one, isn't it? Get out there, stretch your legs, stretch your chain, and come back in and just have a quick check out, quick download of data, and back out again as soon as you can. A little bit of tension here for one of the newcomers. Orange shirt signifies a newcomer.
Talking of dear, oh yes, here it goes. Trouble's arrived.
Lee Johnson,
we're pleased to get Mr. Lee Johnson coming to join us in here. Better move this stuff out of the way.
Prepare for the level of comedy to rise somewhat.
Well, we heard that obviously Ben Irwin isn't riding here, but Lee also has decided not to be doing the roads anymore.
Such an easier job sat between us.
Well, a much nicer job, there's no question about it. So anyway, Lee, nice to see you in here, Lee.
The pleasure is all yours, guys, but it's great to be back at the Northwest 200. The weather out there on the grid is absolutely beautiful. Obviously, we have to keep used to, I don't know if fossils is the right word, out of the sunshine. We don't want anything happening to you, so...
don't want any more wrinkles, do we? Mine aren't wrinkles, they're laughter lines.
Yeah.
Someone said nothing's that funny.
The atmosphere down there is real. You can see how excited all the riders are. Obviously, you want to get out on the first laps. Good, nice, dry. Track looks in really good condition, so yeah, as we see, here we go coming in the shot.
You can see all the dust kicking up out of it there, and once you get the old vacuum behind, we talk about the slipstream, but of course with every slipstream comes a vacuum behind you, and it's dragging all the particles out of the track. Now the 8-10 team that Hickey and, look at that coming off the back of that bike as well, so Todd and Hickman, their own team, it will be interesting to see just how they've got these bikes set up. I mean,
yeah, they're quite tough. I had a good chat with Pete yesterday, and under my understanding so far, normally the likes of the top superbike guys will always come here and run either kits electronics or with this proper road spec motor. That has not been the case this year. Both Pete and Davey are on the BSB. This is basically their BSB bike because they were that late to build the bikes full stop that they've only had a chance to build one bike each. So they're both on the BSB bikes, which means they're both on Motec electronics that you have to use in British Championships. So therefore, no traction control, no anti-wheelie and stuff that it will have had in the past. I don't know if Pete always rode with the kit stuff or not, but Davey definitely rode kit stuff on his BMW previously. So yeah, that would be a big change. Therefore, Michael, I think, will be on full BMW kit electronics and not the Motec, because this isn't obviously a British superbike bike. So yeah, that'll be a big difference this week going forward. It'll be interesting if we can get a chance to chat to all three of them and see how they're...
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Stephen is down with Steve Plato in paddock.
Yes, a man who knows all about winning superbike races round here. With the weather like this, Steve, so many great teams here, we are set for a real superbike spectacle, aren't we?
Yeah, really. Do you know what? I've just been around with the newcomers, 5 laps. The conditions are absolutely perfect. There's hardly any wind. Obviously the sunlight's there, but it's nice and high at the moment. It's absolutely fabulous. There's so many places around the course that we've had resurfaced. There's a little bit of difference on the link road with a new cycle path. So there's a slight different entry and a different camera in the road, but it's all looking good at the moment. And I'm just waiting for the fast boys to get back and give me some feedback on the grip levels and just to make sure everything's tip-top.
You're working with the organisers now and helping be the liaison between riders and organisers. It's very important to have that relationship right.
Yeah, massively. Safety's the main reason for me being here, and to look after the guys. Obviously, I work with not just the front guys, but all the way through the field, really. I pick various people out that give sensible feedback for different conditions and different aspects around the course, and I give the feedback to Stanley, the clerk of the course, and then work from there, And then, of course, more than likely this week, because we've been graced with beautiful weather, more than likely Thursday night for the races, I'll be out at Black Hill, because the sunlight can be an issue there, and I'll have to give the feedback to Stanley to make sure we can continue.
And has your feedback just been to the riders to just try and treat this place with ultimate respect? The weather is so good, just try and take it a little easier from the start, especially with the newcomers here for the first time.
Yeah, you just said, first and foremost, the newcomers, of course, keep those guys calm and not overriding in sections, because you don't learn when you're pushing hard, especially as a newcomer, to keep the guys calm. They've got all week, and we want them to come back next year and years to come to compete and to be at the front and save it until then. So, but obviously the regulars as well, we all get that good feel factor when the sun comes out. Doesn't matter whether you're on a beach or a racetrack, so it's just a case of trying to calm everybody down and let them wait until Thursday night for those 3 glorious races and then move on to the big day Saturday.
And fair to say, well done to the organisers. The track looks absolutely superb. The road service have done that wonderful job at the link road, the resurfacing there. The water service have helped replace 48 manhole covers. We have to remember these are closed public roads. Those parts of the organisation are important in preparation.
Alistair Seeley, Dean Harrison, Peter Hickman, Paul Jordan, Jimmy Cowd.
There's a patch there that's been resurfaced. Obviously the link road, there's some patches down between Station Corner and of course down towards the link road, the Coleraine end. So there's been an awful lot of highways have been mega. They really have. They've really looked after us this year, and the organisers have done a great job, and it's looking good. And obviously the sunshine makes it look awesome anyway.
And you said people feel good whether they're on the racetrack or the beach. Do you wish you were racetrack or beach?
I got that in this morning. I did a 4-mile run through the Royal Portrush golf course and back up the beach, back to Portrush. So that's my fix for today.
Where the preparations, of course, for the 153rd Open Championship are well up and running. We're looking forward to that later on in July. But for now, we're at our biggest outdoor sporting event, the North West 200. Steve, thank you very much.
We're watching the Hondas go round at the moment, but the man on top was, just for a few moments, Alistair Seeley. Now the two Harrison has gone back to the top of the leaderboard here in this opening session. Hickman is in second place, Seeley, Jordan on the 22 machine in fourth place. Coward, we spoke with him a little bit earlier on, he's in fifth place at the moment. Michael Sweeney's sixth. Looking down through the order, Hutchie, you might be watching for Ian Hutchinson as well, very popular here. Of course, he's in eighth place, so quite a lot going on out on that racetrack at the moment. Rutter, if you were wondering where he is, he's down in 13th place at the moment, but he's always been a slow burner. He's just working, well, he's probably only just woken up, really, Michael. But this man, 34, Alistair Seeley, back at the North West 200, and that will be something that we're all in awe of if he manages to pull something off here, that's for sure. What do you reckon, Lee, on the bet for a 30th win for this man?
Yeah, I'd say the odds aren't good for wanting to make some money off the back of him. It's definitely in the bookmaker's favour, but you see Jimmy Coward pulled over there at I believe that's at the chicane, maybe just running a little bit hot and put his foot down on the stop box that you have to do now before rejoining the track. But
hear that actually.
Yeah,
addition.
Alistair Seeley, yeah, he's on the Nickel Oils Superstock bike, so I don't believe he's got a full-blown superbike here, but honestly, the Superstock BMW is still 220 odd horsepower and more than capable of doing the job, and with the likes of Pete and that coming with BSB spec engines and not the big motor, which would be 250 maybe horsepower.
You were talking a minute ago while Stephen was in a full interview flow about the 810 team dynamics and the fact they're on the same kit and same data that they can study, but different tyres.
Yeah, that's a big factor obviously around the Northwest. It's tyre life now, especially with the temperatures hopefully we're going to get this week, and if the track gets rubbered in, it won't be as bad, I don't believe. There's not much just cold tear or anything like that on the tyre, but Michael Rutter's just gesturing there on the TV that the forks are bottoming out. But
Ray Stringer in the background as well.
Yeah.
Well, nice and summer wine, maybe. Says he.
But yeah, the electronics and stuff that Davey and Pete will be able to look at each other's data, and for two top riders to be on two different tyre manufacturers in the same team is quite rare. So that'll, well, yeah, it's definitely going to prove better for one of the two manufacturers. We're not going to say who right now, but obviously Pete is on Dunlops, Michael Dunlop is on Dunlops, and Davey Todd and Dean Harrison and John McGuinness are all on Metzler. So yeah, there's a good variety of riders out there on different tyres and machines.
One of the other things as well, Lee, is K-Tech, the rise of K-Tech suspension. We see so much more of it this year as well. A lot of runners are in there. Stuart Bland, and I talked to you yesterday about it. I didn't realise there was a shock dynamometer that's actually, they hook the rear shock up into a system where they can simulate racetracks, and now they can take the data off a bike. But then you shot that down by saying, well, yeah, but they can't simulate different weather, different.
Yeah, obviously they can put the data, so obviously on a bike, to simplify it, the data is everything gets recorded. So you've got front suspension pot, rear suspension pot, both wheel speeds, brake pressure, your clutch and the slip of the clutch and stuff like that. So all that data gets fed into one system. But the guys can take the data for the rear shock from somewhere like the Isle of Man TT, where the shock goes absolutely crazy from Ginger Hall to Ramsey. They can put the data into the machine, and then the machine makes the shock do the same thing. So you can do shock temperatures, all these varieties, so they could test it on the machine, say where the temperature in the shock could be coming off the exhaust and there's not wind temperature, all these different things. So yeah, technology is moved on
I'll tell you
a lot.
That shock dyno must be something to watch, because it must jump off the bench if you're going to do it. We'll have to see if we can get a little feature on it, go in the truck, because I know they're just parked around here, so we'll see if we can come down to
just
something like the shock machine. yeah, well they wouldn't have a light enough setting, I don't think, would they? Let's go back down to pit lane, because the boys are there.
Yes, this session, we believe, just has been paused for the moment. Michael Dunlop is in his garage, looking very relaxed in there as the guys do some work to the machine. Laptop out again, Philip.
It's not spotters anymore, Stephen. You know, it's in the olden days you'd have been at that suspension with a screwdriver and an Allen key and some preload on to work it. But you can see now, you know, they plug the laptop in, that works everything. He's disconnecting his laptop there, but we don't really know. I don't think we know enough about this bike of Michael's yet. You know, I'm told from behind the scenes this is the latest BMW. Apparently it's supposed to be a world superbike spec bike, so that makes it a pretty special bike. So you're going to need pretty special people to understand all the electronics. And if we look in there, we see now Michael discussing the electronics with his technical man. And like Jenny said earlier, a lot of complications happening here now with these bikes, because the one thing that overrides all of this is rider feel right. So Michael's got to feel right. That suspension's got to feel right going into the corner. The suspension's got to feel right accelerating out of the corners.
And can a small tweak make a huge difference to how the bike feels on the back?
Yes, definitely. You know, and you throw the other thing, something else that complicates the whole thing here is the power of the bike, right? So this bike is probably in the region of maybe 250 brake horse, which is unreal. Imagine that in your right hand. Last year at the TT I rode a couple of bikes with 220, 230 brake horse, and I was afraid to turn the throttle. So what's this not like with 250 brake horse? But like I say, the biggest problem we have here in the Northwest then is the transfer of weight. So the suspension's got to work to soak up all those bumps to keep that bike stable in a high-speed straight line. But there's got to be enough preload and compression that when you're braking from 200 and possibly 10 miles an hour this year, the front forks has got to absorb that as well. So it's getting the balance between getting that bike stop stable and letting it take the bumps as well. And the same thing happens out of the corners, you know. So at the back end, we've got the 250 brake horse going through the rear shock, so the back end's squatting. So we need to get enough preload on that bike doesn't squat back right down and get out of control, but again, be supple enough to take those bumps at high speed. So that's just the suspension. On top of that is all the electronics. And in the olden days, we adjusted the slow jet and the idle jet and the needle jet and the main jet and all that. Well, now that's all little digits and graphs, as they talk about on a laptop. So it is Michael will want this bike right. When he gets all that right, then it's got to feel right. So his feeling might contradict with all those information.
Yeah, it was interesting speaking to him earlier this week. Obviously, he was very happy, as we all are, about the weather, in particular because of tyres. Because he's running Dunlop tyres, they don't make a wet weather tyre. So he knows now that he's got the tyre to do the job here. 4 lap races, of course, on Thursday night.
Well, you know, I Dunlop with confidence. I've raced against him many times, you know. I know people have raced against Michael many times as well. And look, last year, you know, at the TT and other times when Michael's pulled his fingers out and he's confident with his bikes, he wins.
We know what he has done at the Isle of Man TT. It's a surprise that he hasn't won here for so long. But last year, you know, he was on the podium multiple times. Great finishes in the Superbike races as well. He just didn't have the bike properly set up to compete at that very sharp end.
Yeah, that's what it was. And again, Michael, you know, he's been around long enough and he's smart enough to know that, yes, people will say, Michael, he will override and he will, but he won't override to a point where there's no return. You know, so at the Northwest 200 previous years, I think he hasn't been comfortable enough on his bikes. Every time out he got faster and faster, which meant he was getting more happy and his bike was getting more happy. So this year, you know, they've done a lot of work on this bike already. His team, he's got much the same teams as before. The Hawk boys are superb. He's got all his local sponsors, his local mechanics, the boys that help him. So he's happy. In every way, he's happy with that team. He just needs to get that bike dialed in. And probably, you know, he's proven without doubt many times he can, you know, win super sports and super stocks. But, you know, the super bike is the win you want at the Northwest 200. And Michael Dunlop wants that. So I think they get this all right, they're definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. But there's other riders out there.
There certainly is.
What about Alistair Seeley?
Yeah, Alistair Seeley. Just before we hand back, Alistair Seeley. We heard Steve and Keith and Lee just talking about his performance so far. He has got dialed in absolutely immediately, hasn't he? 1 year out, missed last year, couldn't get a ride. He's back with a bang.
Yeah, he sure is. He's he's won around here 26 times, right? So
29 actually. Sorry for that.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks. I got 11.
We know you've got 11, but yeah, we know that. Yeah, well done.
So he knows the course, he knows everything, and he has years of experience. So now, what people don't know out there, you see that super stock he's riding. That's his own. That is his 2023 super stock.
Winning super stock.
Winning super stock. So he's going to be pretty happy with that bike. They've done, I think, quite a few updates to bring it up to a bit more higher spec and make it a little bit faster. So they'll know how that bike handles. You know, I'm not sure where he's finished there in the session, but he was up at the front earlier on in that session there. So he's dialed in straight away. And if he keeps building that up and building it up, he'll definitely be near the front. He's only had 2 practice sessions, I believe, on that bike. He's had the BSB practice at Donington and
Navarro.
And maybe it was Open Park. I don't think he'd done that one. You know, so he's only had a couple of outings really. But look, the bike will be pretty dialed in. Mentally and physically, he'll be dialed in. His 600 is a new bike at MSS, 636 Kawasaki. So that'll be dialed in. So give him a couple of nights, and I think he will be on.
Well, we will go and try and find Alistair Seeley and have a word with him. But for now, it's back up to comedy box.
Thank you very much, gents. Did he say commentary box or comedy box? Somebody said comedy box earlier on. We still don't have any news as to why this may have been delayed. We've got a red flag at the moment. Let's go down to pit lane and pick up with Larry.
Got John McGuinness down here. John, I understand the red flag out for some oil down on the run in towards university, so whilst the organisers get that one cleared up. But you've had a look around the wonderful Causeway course. There's no better place, is there, when it's weather like this? What's your initial thoughts this year?
Yeah, conditions are beautiful. Everybody's excited. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because it looks really clean, but on the outlap, the dust was unbelievable. You could hardly see anything on the outlap. I was like, oh, but it'll settle down and just rubber in a dream with that. But yeah, I went out, no quick shifter, no water blippers, had to come straight back in, and a bit frustrating because you need to go away with the leading guy, you just get a couple of laps under your belt. But I came in and then I went back out again, only got sort of 1 lap in from a standing start, then only got to the university and it was red flag, so I'm a little bit frustrated. But I've been in this position many times before for 31 years, so you know, it's just one of them things. That's the Northwest for you. But excited to get back out for another few laps on the big superbike. Last year I didn't ride the superbike here, and that got me attention. I'll tell you, going down, come out of station gun, I was like, oh my god, yeah. They don't have to get all the experience you've got. They still get your attention.
Still makes you want to get out of bed in the morning, doesn't it, John?
Yeah, I mean, it's just stunning. I mean, you know, this morning looked out the window of the motorhome. I was like, this is what it's all about, you know, not too much wind. Good strong field of riders, bikes, everybody's in good spirits. Yeah, and let's just hope we're just putting on a good show for everybody. And you know, there's even quite a bit of crowd out there early on for a Wednesday practice.
I think when you rocked up in '94 on the 250, if my memory serves me correctly, did you honestly think that half a dozen Northwest wins, 23 TT wins, and a couple of British Championships along the way, that you'd still be going at the wonderful age of 53?
Oh, no chance. I didn't know where it was going to end up. I had 90 quid in my pocket and an Iveco 6010 van that was dropping bits around me. That was, you know, I turned up in the paddock and I got welcomed here with open arms. It was just that first instant feeling I got from the organisers. It'll be Billy Nutt and Merv at the time, and you know, it's just a different feeling, and it's just it's an amazing experience to be still involved in. I just even driving around up from the docks yesterday in the motorhome along the coast, parking up, yeah, really nice, love it.
It's the same though, isn't it? Because it's not changed. The only thing is you've added Ewan to the team, because there's still you and Becky doing that.
Yeah, still me and the missus. Ewan's like 24 now, my boy. He works for a company that's sponsored me, so he's doing really well in the sport industry. So yeah, it's a family thing, and it's quite tight knit feeling we have between us all. And I think it's been the boy over there trying to clean his jets out.
The big question is, John, how much longer? You know, the brand that is John McGuinness, and you've got nothing else left to prove. You're doing it just purely for enjoyment. But then, during testing at Alton Park, the fastest ever lap that you did around there on a stocker. So there certainly is life in the old dog. Yeah, you're not going to hang the leathers up just yet.
No, it's strange, isn't it? You know, it's like, I thought by now I'd be going backwards, but I still have the enthusiasm. I still have, you know, I've been out, I know I'm a bit heavy and that, but I still go out on my enduro bike, I still ride, I still feel bike fit, I still feel strong. You know, personal best last time at Donington, Alton Park. You know, last year here on the podium, TT, we were strong. So, you know, I mean, I wouldn't be sat here with a #1 plate on Honda if I wasn't warranting the job. But once I don't, you know, once there comes a point where these other guys are knocking on Honda's door for my jobs, I'll roll over, you know, but I'll always stay involved in the sport. You know, maybe go on some smaller bikes and do some classic races, I don't know. But at the minute, I never think about retirement. Just to me, it's just keep the concentration. I call it hamster wheel, just keeping that hamster wheel, keep riding, keep enjoying it, and then see where it all leads us.
And you made everybody's day with a podium last year. Let's hope, Johnny, you can repeat it again this year.
That would be icing on the cake, I'll tell you.
Okay, mate, thanks for that. Back to Stephen.
Well, I'm here with the Northwest 200 record holder, Alistair Seeley, just getting a bit of fluid on board. He's been changing the visors on his helmet just in after your first laps back.
Yeah.
How was it?
Yeah, it was a shock to the system, back up to 202. The missus tells me on the first flying lap, so yeah, 200 mile an hour in your first lap's not a good way to get the brake calibrated. So yeah, just a bit dusty, you know, a few stones about. You can see the first gaggle of riders and the plume of dust, and it's kind of tried to stay out of the way, didn't want any stones sort of going through the radiator and damaging the bike, so held back a wee bit. Just found a bit of clear track, and then just kind of started to do my own thing, build it up, and just come across a few sort of back markers there. I don't know, maybe they're letting them off a bit late, you know, and then we're coming around catching them. So it is what it is. We're just trying to navigate through them and then just get the brain back into the track.
Did you feel at home very quickly?
Yeah, well, obviously the bike was here before, so the bike knows its way around. Just a matter of getting used to it again, getting the brain up to speed, just getting used to the new tarmac and a few bumps around the place. But the more laps we do, then the more familiarised we'll get with it. Hopefully the place cleans up a bit with a dusty, dirty track.
As we continue to talk on, we're going to take a little look at your bikes in the garage there. SMS Nickel Oils here on the Super Stock. Alistair, great to be back with that local team.
Yeah, obviously Stevie, McShane and Gary Nickel, the two guys who put the team together, running David Allingham and British Super Stock Championship.
And what a great result he had at the weekend.
Yeah, it's awesome, you know. I've kind of been leaning on him a bit and giving him all my years of racing over there and what to do and where to be, and obviously riding the BM before. The last championship I ran in BSB in 2023 was the Super Stock Championship, done very well. So David obviously is very fast. I've been out motocrossing with him and he's a very good, smart rider. He obviously is going for the championship this year and he's fired up, so anything I can help him to win that championship's good. But you know, a big thank you to the boys for obviously getting me here. I think David actually had an interview with you last year.
He did.
And that probably came in the fruition of me actually ending up here. So big shout out to him and obviously all the team, all the sponsors. And we'll not forget about the CD Racing MSS Kawasaki. You know, I've had 3 days testing on it basically, and we could have done with maybe another day or two, but you come here, you put the Northwest gearing in it, and we'll crack on and see how it feels.
So you being on the SMS, Nickel Oil's machine, and David Allingham, that interview last year, I can take a bit of credit for this thing, can I?
Yeah, obviously we'll get BBC a plug, It maybe raise your wages a wee bit.
I don't think so, Alistair, but let's hope you win plenty of wages this week. I mean, you're targeting number 30 here, and anything's possible.
Yeah, obviously we're here to do the job. We're given the machinery to do the job. It's just up to me to deliver. So the 30 would be nice. It's not going to be easy. So I have 7 cracks at the whip. So maybe, hopefully, one will come off.
Well, it's great to see you back. Thanks very much. Cheers, Alan.
Thank you.
We're still under a red flag conditions at the moment as they're cleaning up the track wherever it was. Larry has got some information down in pit lane, that's why we know what's going on at the moment. There's some oil out on the track, and that really is a rider's worst nightmare. We're not going to be looking forward to riding across that. It will obviously be signified by cement dust, so when you see a line of that, you'll know exactly where it is. But riders will be aware now.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, isn't it? We talked about this track being in very good condition early on, but the fact of the matter is, it is quite dirty, Lee.
Yeah, and it's obviously been dry for quite a lot of days. I know people associate with it being dirty, that means that there's been rainfall and stuff, but the fact that it has been dry for so many days means that the dust and the dirt and stuff is sitting on the road and it hasn't got washed away. So yeah, maybe we need somebody out there with a leaf blower this evening. That could be a job for you two guys if one sets off one direction
There's
and one
plenty
the
of hot
other.
air, we can blow it away, no problem at all. But right now, while we've got this opportunity, why don't we take a look back at Peter Hickman's lap from Superbikes last year, and we'll get Lee to take us through it as well.
Oh, we're going to get a restart straight away. So are we in the Superbike race?
Yeah, Superbike Thursday night it was.
Good, so yeah, straight into, we class it as turn 1, but it's normally 4th gear corner back to 3rd, in bump now, over there, another little one there, the bike just unsettles.
But this is where you want to make up all the advantage on the opening lap, really, isn't it? Down into your hairpin, once you've done the Mayhill descent into this braking area, you can make a big mistake like that and run it a bit hot with a full tank.
Yeah, Glenn got sucked in, or well, Dean got sucked in a little bit behind Glenn and run in too deep, but the bike's lively, and this is probably the worst it feels at the start of the race, you know, fresh tyres, because you've chucked a new rear tyre back in it again to make sure it does the full race distance.
Now, Steve and I would have been blasted straight through there without a roundabout being there. How do you find that roundabout?
Yeah, it's obviously coming off camber as well, and over the pitch of the crest, so the bike's quite unsettled with a full tank of fuel as well, so yeah, like I say, these first few corners are not a nice feeling, and then you get onto what I call the big boy corners. Now you're absolutely flat out through here, you'll hear the bike spin up, help the bike turn.
And this week, if we do get a dry session all the way through, and then we do get rubber into the Leicester Station corner onto the surface, how much difference does that make?
Yeah, big time. It actually helps the tyre life a little bit. The more rubber there is on the ground, it brings the tyre in. And we see, when you're coming along like this in the slipstream, you can actually feel that. So John will have felt Peter coming through there and sucking you off the side of the bike, which is not a great feeling, if I'm totally honest, because you know that someone's there and you don't want to pull across. But yeah,
we heard earlier on talking about calibrating your brain. You know, that really is the case. 200 mile an hour after breakfast is quite a shock to the system.
Yeah, and the big thing, naturally, as motorbike racers, the automatic thing to do is when you grab the front brake lever is to sit up straight away. But when you sit up straight away at 202 or 204 mile an hour, all it wants to do is peel your helmet off the top of your head. So you have to, and I say this to newcomers, you have to settle in and sit up a little bit slower, get 30, 40, 50 mile an hour off before doing that. So all them little tricks of the trade that you don't do in a short circuit, you have to do here.
That's where you need more strength, because when you sit up, you straighten your arms and lock out, so you do need that strength in your arms and shoulders, right?
Well, you need to get your backside over the back wheel as well. I mean, it's all very well having a load of aero everywhere, but when you're trying to break it down from that, if you don't push yourself back, you've got, we all call you T-Rex. Short arms, plenty of bite.
Yeah, that is a fact. But yeah, the bikes now are so fast. Like, you just listen to the RPM, and he's just throwing gears at the thing. You're back up to 6th gear now straight away. Just before this crest there, he just shifted just to settle the bike a little bit. Even though it's got all that aero, it still needs that just to get it back through the RPM.
Interesting point you make there is that when you drive around in a car, you don't realise the nuances of this racetrack. That rise just there down towards Macroboy is quite shocking even in a car if you're motoring along a little bit. So at 200 mile an hour, that is going to be a significant difficulty.
And the same goes for here down in the Mexico. The gear changes are so crucial, because if you do it at the wrong time and the bike hits torque and RPM, it unsettles the front, and that nervousness, you can see, look, the bike's even bouncing around there on brakes into Mexico.
Close your eyes now.
Do you have a preference at which side of the road you go into there? Is it a bit smoother than the other?
There's just two spots, so the manholes are like 2/3 of the way across, so you either want to be on the inside of them or on the outside of them, but I don't know what it's like now. Obviously they've changed all the manholes, and up over this section was the worst there just now. You see them hitting them two manholes, they were the worst ones.
On your line, yeah. 48 manholes they've changed, as in shimmed them out and made them absolutely smooth and level with the surface. They do quite a big job here, don't they? You can imagine the man out with the feeler gauge trying to make sure.
And they also tar them and like grip them as well, so they've got grip in the rain. Quite an amazing thing.
And then paint them white so that we can all see them.
Yeah, well, if we can't get good tar markers in Northern Ireland, we need to give
Well, that's true. Yeah, very good point about it. That's the last passing place really we just seen there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think for a few times we've seen Sealy pass, possibly into the last corner of Stevie Todd, but the guys are not taking anything away from riding years ago, but they're so on the limit now, and they've all got the braking markers into there, so I think unless someone makes a little bit of a slip up coming out of the last chicane, you won't have enough drive to get up the inside into the last corner.
Well, that was a lap of the Causeway Coast Road down towards the start and finish. We're looking back. Live pictures now at the start line, and again we're still waiting for the track to be cleared for us. And there is Peter Hickman, resplendent in all his new colours. They've now got the complete new liveries all done for the TT and everything. They've just launched it yesterday here, and I've got to say, Davey Todd, Peter Hickman, big job building a team, the 810 team as they called it. FHO, Feiho, disappeared. Obviously there was a bit of controversy over here a while ago, and she pulled out and has pretty much done that in Britain generally. She's gone back to Macau.
Just quickly, I saw FHO is written on Michael Dunlop's bikes.
Would that be a little bit of controversy there?
Part of the ripping might be, I don't know. I was just quite surprised to see that.
Yeah, so my understanding, looking out and knowing these guys quite well, Peter has took the majority of that team with him, and obviously he's got the unit of PHR Racing and stuff, and they're all in the same area of Louth, so there's quite a lot of things have carried on, and it's obviously called 810 Racing, but the majority of the team is Peter Hickman, and obviously Davey has come on and come across from the FHO team. But yeah, the guys have done an amazing job. I think the livery was designed to come out a few weeks ago. We were at the TT press launch, but a few sponsors had to get signed off. I think that'd be a Monster and people like that, so it just didn't happen in time, so the launch didn't happen there, and then the guys have done it yesterday. I didn't actually see that, so I seen the bikes at the press launch, but yeah, it looks really, really smart. But
it's a big deal putting something together like that and to carry that forward through the year. I mean, it's not just about the bikes, obviously you mentioned it, sponsors.
And trying to race yourself as well.
Indeed, and trying to prep your own brain, and Davey Todd and he have done a great job. Let's take a look at what the times are so far, shall we, in this session that's been red flagged at the moment because oil's on the track. If you've just joined us, we don't know the reasons for why oil's on the track, but we've got Dean Harrison, who's the quickest man. He was out of the blocks at 209 through the speed trap. So Dean Harrison on a proper full-blown Honda superbike this weekend, and that's pretty spectacular. Hickman in second place.
That's obviously Dean's first time here on the Honda superbike, because obviously he was with Dow the year before that, so this is his first year here actually after.
He's kind of underlined his one of the favourites kind of betting that's going on at the moment. Hickman in second place. He's only managed 199 through the speed trap, but it's still 120 mile an hour lap. Sealy dropped to third. Jordan has come up as well, so the 22 machine of Paul Jordan is in fourth place in this shortened session so far. Jamie Coward on the 36 machine is in fifth. Michael Sweeney on the 65 in sixth. Ian Hutchinson popped up into seventh place on the number 12 machine. Then we've got the 15 of Nathan Harrison. Manxman is in 8th place. Connor Cummins 11th. Then the number 20. Oh, sorry, you're right. David Johnson then on the 20 is in 10th place. 13th, Gary McCoy, the number 13, Gary McCoy is in 11th place. Josh Brooks on the number 7 in 12th place. Michael Rutter on the number 4 in 13th. The number 8 of Sam West is in 14th place, and then the number 9 of Craig Neve is in 15th place. That's your top session that we've had so far, but the 209 mile an hour, gents.
Yeah, but bearing in mind we must know the track is dirty because they're 10 seconds off of the fast times. They're still 10 seconds away, which is quite a lot. So Stephen is down in pit lane. I think we're having a time.
I am indeed with Adam, local rider, always enjoys the Northwest 200. How's this morning been for you, first of all?
Yeah, it's a bit of a reality check whenever you get out there. First off, in superbikes, the sensation of speed is unreal. So, yeah, got a couple of laps in there before the red flag. So we just actually pulled in before the flag came out to make a couple of setup changes. So, yeah, it's tricky because not rid the bike on a public road before, so you do your testing at short circuits, so it's a bit different. So no, we've made a couple of changes and hopefully we can make a step here once we get going again.
Tell us a little bit about the team you're riding for this year, because of course you're balancing the IRRC championship as well.
So last year I rode their Dutch team called Performance Racing Achterhoek. So they are based in the Netherlands, and I did the IRRC series last year, which is essentially just European Road Racing Championship on their super sport bike. So we finished second in the championship there, which was good, first attempt. So riding for them this year, both in the European Championship here and the TT. So it's a busy few weeks for us. We're here this week, and then next week is the first round of the European Championship in Hengelo in the Netherlands, and then we drive back to the Isle of Man for the following week. So it's going to be busy, but it's good.
You're enjoying the European adventure as well?
Yeah, again, it's something different. I've been doing obviously the road racing here in Ireland for a few years, and obviously every year there's a few less. So when the opportunity came up to go and do the European Championship, I thought, why not? So it's one of those things I've talked about doing before, but obviously the logistics of, we've got a round in Imatra in Finland, we've got 2 in Germany, 1 in Belgium, Holland, Czech Republic. So logistically it's difficult to go there with a team from here. So whenever obviously the opportunity came up to ride for a team that have been racing in that series, I thought, why not?
Nowhere better than here. Can you and the team be a winning combination here this week, you think?
We'll see. Just steady away and we'll see where we fare out in qualifying. I know our 600's good, so we'll see how we go with that.
Okay, Adam, good luck. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And you may wonder why the delay was there, is because we were engrossed in a conversation with Lee Johnson here in the commentary studio, who's joined me and Steve Parrish. My name's Keith Ewan, Steve Parrish alongside me. Lee Johnson is here with us as well. And we were getting a bit of an update on the injury situation regarding yourself, because it wasn't that long ago when you were a man that was in great dire difficulty.
Well, you're here in the commentary booth with crutches last year, weren't you?
Yeah,
and a frame.
Yeah, we still had the frame on the leg and stuff, so yeah, I was just basically explaining to you guys like how mobility is now and stuff like that, and I feel really good in myself. It's probably this last weekend back to British Championship and stuff, and it's the first time I've felt probably at one with the bike and fully comfortable back to sort of getting to decent speed and stuff like that there. So yeah, I'm really happy with the bike and the new team and everything and things going forward. So yeah, hopefully we can go in that way. It's funny because I get asked, and with it being a new team, they probably didn't realise the amount of people that stop me and ask me about my accident or ask me how my body is. And I'd say probably on average 500 people over the space of a BSB weekend would stop you. And it used to sort of bring me down or irritate me a little bit, but now I look at it in the sense that they're asking because they mean well, even though it's not a positive thing they're talking about. So I try and take that out of it and not let it get me down and things like that. So now I look at it, the fact that I'm happy I'm here, I'm healthy and well, and the people mean well enough to ask.
A man who understands absolutely how you feel in the perspective from your viewpoint. Talk to Pete Hutchinson, who's down there with Larry Carter.
Down here with 2 riders that are one of the newest teams on the grid, and this is the Michael Laverty Racing, the move-up team, with Mike Brown and Ian Hutchinson. Well, contrasting fortunes in recent years. Mike got his first podium last year, and Hutchy, it's great to have him back on a competitive bike as well. Let's just start with you first, Mike. Conditions here at the Northwest. Absolutely fantastic. And after your superb performance last year, looking forward to this one.
Yeah, looking forward to it. The weather's good and can't complain. Just get a few laps in now this morning and see how we go.
It's been a little bit of a last-minute job. You've got Michael Laverty on board, and Michael, who runs about 5 or 6 teams, I think, now at the last count. It was all it all came together a little bit later for you.
Yeah, even looking at Michael, you get stressed. But no, he's done a good job. Bikes are on the grid and everything's ready to go.
Yeah, well done. And Hutchie, it's great to have you back at the Northwest on a competitive motorcycle. It's been a little bit of a lean few years for you, but now back, albeit a little bit late, all coming together. Back with Michael Laverty, a former Supersport competitor of yours, and looking forward to this one.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I've sort of hit the ground running with being comfortable on the bike and a bit of confidence, which you obviously need, that I didn't have last year. So hopefully it carries on as it is. We had a decent race last week, first time back out, and obviously didn't race 2 years ago at all. Didn't race very much last year. We did the Manx, so 8 months since I rode a bike from the Manx was a little bit difficult, but Michael made the right choice really with waiting for the 2025 bike, but it's been a mental 2 weeks. The easy job would have been to get the old bike and we'd have been alright all winter and could have ridden it and stuff, but we've ridden nothing and waited for the bike, and it's been hard to get bits for, but it'll pay off in the end.
So whereabouts are you at with the development of the bike? You've hardly ridden it. You had a reasonable weekend at Alton Park, but still work in progress?
Yeah, like for the Donington test, a lot of the stuff was still standard and we were putting bits on as it went along. We got some more bits for Alton. I had to share my bike with Ilya for Alton so that he got some time on the bike, and you know, in a perfect world there's a lot of things that you wouldn't have done, but we've had to do it, and it's, you know, like I say, in the long run it'll work out for us hopefully. We've got everything we need now. Obviously I'm riding a super stock bike in Superbike and super stock. If we'd gone down the Superbike route, it would have been 10 times worse because I'd be getting on something now that I definitely hadn't ridden before. So, you know, for me it's just a confidence building year. The super stock bike is capable, you know, especially at the Isle of Man. Maybe here, I don't really know where we'll be at Superbike wise, but for me just to ride the same bike every session, get my own confidence back up there and go and enjoy myself, and yeah, that's the plan.
Well, okay, well hopefully it's a good week for you, Hutchie, and it's great to see you back and looking competitive again.
Thank you.
And I think Steve's got Wayne Rizak with him.
Yes, you certainly will not miss this machine. You will not miss this rider out on track. Wayne, great to see you. How much are you enjoying your second time here at the Northwest?
Yeah, it's a little bit stress on the super stock and super bike because it's my first time here on a big bike. But just enjoy and keep safe and step by step. And I try to little push on the super sport.
The super sport, you're going to be your main class here, do you think?
Yeah, I finished 26 last year, and I tried top 20 this year, but safe and step by step. I will see, just riding, enjoy, and I will see after. The result for me is not a big problem. Is not problem.
And what was the big attraction of this event for you?
Yeah, it's the Armsing track. I ride on a TT, and here is normal to come. It's normal race, but yeah, it's very beautiful, good organization, it's very nice. And the weather is very good for this year.
Yeah, it's always like this, you know that. The colour scheme, talk me through it.
Yeah, it's my favorite color, and the team Spanish with me. It's good game, it's good. And on Super Sport, yeah, the same, but the wheels is yellow.
Yeah, very nice. A continental feel. Good luck this week. All riders, by the way, are carrying these Joey Dunlop 25th anniversary stickers. Joey Dunlop, of course, who passed away 25 years ago this year after that crash in Estonia. Big celebrations planned with in his hometown of Ballymoney this year. In a couple of weeks' time, on May the 24th, when dozens of famous riders will be riding Joey Dunlop's original machines. That's in a couple of weeks' time, but the Northwest 200 here wanted to pay tribute to Joey Dunlop with every single rider with a Joey Dunlop sticker, and there are Joey Dunlop 25 flags around this circuit as well.
The Joey Dunlop 25 then will be from 2 p.m. on Saturday the 24th of May. There's obviously the display of bikes, as Stephen says. Loads of riders that are coming over as well. Live music on an outdoor stage at Joey's Bar from 4 p.m. The roads closed around Ballymoney town from 5 p.m. Parade of Joey's race machines ridden by plenty of celebrity riders that go across and guests from 6:30 p.m. That's all on the 24th of May, and certainly if you're around. It'll be a fantastic event.
It's going to be huge, isn't it? Massive. You can just sense the way everyone's thinking about it. And it was one of those days, and I think I spoke to you before about it, where you knew where you were that day when the terrible news came through about Joe.
I was sat in the studio looking out over Silverstone's Woodcook Corner with Jeremy McWilliams as my studio guest on Sky Sports back in the day. And that's when the news came through. And I remember that Jeremy's face suddenly changed. I mean, he's quite an expressive man anyway, I've got to say, but he suddenly looked so shocked. And then obviously it came through my earpiece as well. And that was the 119 bike there of Chris Duncan, who very nearly clipped the curb, whatever his problem was just then. But no, it came through and it was a shock to everybody.
Yeah,
all day in Estonia.
I was working for BBC World Superbikes in Oschersleben in Germany, and the paddock was just every nationality really. It wasn't just British people or Irish people. It was just the whole paddock was in shock.
So, looking up the coast road as we are restarted this delayed session, the red flag session. John McGuinness, a bit destabilised with a bit of a problem, a technical problem with the Honda on his out lap, and then he had to come back in, and then of course he only got another out lap from a standing start because it was red flag. So straight away, a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think it's just a quick shift problem, I believe. They had to just sort it all out. So yeah, everyone getting out there right now. Unfortunate oil spillage, it seems, going down into University. I suspect an engine has probably let go on the downshift going into that corner there.
36 Jamie Coward, not been here for a while. 36 Jamie Coward, we're just looking at there. He's looked good in the, he's obviously, you know, had the right stuff for breakfast this morning, and down towards the York hairpin, and our helicopter giving us some great. That's the other good thing that you get on weather like this. Our helicopter can go where it likes, when it likes. Yeah. It's not being blown about. We've not got it's not a huge amount of draft coming off of the sea either that sometimes you get here. So the helicopter gets a real opportunity to look around.
I can't believe that aerial shot there of Port Stewart. It's double the size again. I know we keep going on about when we came here, but there's just so much.
45 years for me now.
Is it really? Right, well it's probably a bit longer for me, but nevertheless, it was just a small town. It's a huge town now.
So we're looking at the 10 of James Chalk from Limerick. Out on another big BMW really now all over the place. Everybody's got a BM.
I have to say, frontal view, they don't look pretty.
They
do not
look pretty.
It doesn't matter if they work.
No, I agree with you on that. But there's the Malenko Paget's machine.
There's Michael.
With the Carl Cox sponsorship still. He's a good boy, isn't he, Carl Cox?
Isn't he
puts a bit of money in as well, and he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, he is. He's very passionate about motorsport in lots of areas. Never been to one of his gigs there, so I'm probably a bit old to.
Well,
I do love his music. I do love his sets that he puts together.
Yeah, you get to the door, and instead of asking,
"What have you come for your daughter?"
Who have you come to pick up, Dad? Granddad. Number 6 comes out there, Michael Dunlop on the BMW. 36 years old now, 5 wins round here, and he's going to be looking for a one again here. There's no doubt about it. This man, he's an icon in the most down-to-earth kind of way that you would imagine from a Dunlop. I remember the first time I saw Joey Dunlop turn up here at the Northwest. He came in a mud brown Mini with the isolastic suspension pumped up beyond belief. He should have been in a Ferrari. He had that kind of status, but he just turned up, and it was quite shocking, really. He obviously was a superstar around this racetrack, but Lee Johnson was just rated the tuck boxes. There was a slight pause there as I looked to see Steve filter his way through all the
chocolate bars have just come in, but not that we would normally be eating those, being athletes. Talking of athletes, Jenny Tim has just joined us. Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
You've been down there basking in the sunshine, getting all the atmosphere that is going on down there. So, Royal, I believe, down at University, is that what you heard?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Any idea who that was?
No.
Right. Okay.
That's helpful.
Sorry.
You got thrown under the bus there, didn't you, Jen? Straight away. But we're looking at Peter Hickman out on track at the moment, and Peter Hickman will be looking to get those laps in. I have to say, Jenny, 209 miles an hour I saw a little earlier on from Dean Harrison. That ain't bad out the traps, is it?
That's going some, isn't it? Isn't the record, is it 212? Is that...
The fastest around here, I'm going to tell you, is...
Go on, Steve.
Yeah, hang on, I'm going to leave it with me. I've got it somewhere. It was something like 218, I believe it was.
Where have you put it? He's got more bits of paper hanging on the wall than can't find them.
I'll come back. I'll come back to you. But the first person that went very, very fast, and I think it was 209, but if you remember, was Bruce Anstey on the Paget bike. Then that got passed, and that's going back a few years.
Bruce Anstey is here and looking really well. Saw him yesterday, and he just... Bruce Anstey is one of the nicest men you can meet, and he's still working this paddock. Love him.
Actually, I've got 209.8. I've got a Davy Todd down there, but that is some speed.
Are you contradicting yourself?
Yeah, no, but the first person, I think it was maybe 208 when Clive Paget was bouncing around the paddock, as you can imagine, because he'd got the fastest bike here.
Dean Harrison on the number 3 machine. I don't know what he's had for breakfast this morning, but he looks aggressive every time we get him in shot. He was fast right out of the traps this morning. And I don't know whether you've been keeping an eye on him, but Jenny, he looks really quick.
Yeah, he wanted to be really quick last year, didn't he? But had all the troubles with getting superbike parts and getting superbikes built. So we've already said that he was on the stocker, and this year obviously he's got the consistency of the same team, and he's one of the riders actually that's got the consistency of the same team and same bike. So he's gonna think he's got the advantage already. You know, in his mindset, he'll be off and out the track.
Talking of fast men, Stephen is down there with Glenn Irwin, who's been leading the newcomers around earlier.
Yeah, look who I found. I bet you wish you were out there.
Do you know what? Yeah, it's I've already actually been out. I got 6 laps this morning, taking the newcomers round, which was incredible. I woke up thinking I had 1 lap to do, you know, and then I nearly fell in, and later I was like, oh, yeah, I really enjoy this. You get 3 or 4 laps, so every lap, Stephen, across the finish line, there was no checker flag, and really enjoyable. First time I've ever ridden around the Northwest with a Speedo and on road tires, and you got through station at 175 mile an hour on road tires. It's the course is in incredible condition. The lads are going to have a great time out there today.
Explain to everyone who's watching around the world your decision not to race the Northwest 200 this year. You've had so much success. You're the record holder in the superbike class.
Yeah, do you know, like, I probably don't even like really going back into that. You know, it was at the time it was quite an overwhelming feeling to step away from competing. But obviously, look, you know, it's no secret I'm a father of 3 young kids, and you know we've achieved so much success here, more than I ever dreamed of, to be honest. You know, memories that will last beyond the lifetime, and yeah, just you know, maybe understand what we have at home, and you know, that part of this job can also be a little bit tough. But I want to be Northern Ireland's first British superbike champion, and I think all our eggs are well and truly in that basket, and we stay away from other distractions until we secure that, and who knows, after them 6 laps this morning, I could be back as early as next year.
Yeah, you're only joking. You're only joking, of course. I know. Someone will step into your shoes. Someone will be a superbike hero here this week. There are so many contenders. Who do you fancy for this big bike class?
I drove up here today knowing if you interviewed me, you were going to ask me this question. So I'm going to answer it as honest. I get on with all the guys. I am going to say Michael Dunlop or Peter Hickman. I know Davy Todd's pushed me more than others in recent years. He's riding his BSB bike here without traction control. And the traction he rode with the last couple of years was he was very good with it. So he's got a little bit of adapting to do. Michael's on a pretty much full factory BMW from what I gather. Very fast, stable, and he knows this place well. Hickey, I think, had a good Oldham Park. I'm going to say Hickey or Michael, but honestly, I want to say a great race. And them all to be fast, them all to be safe, and we'll all be buying sun cream and watching them and eating ice creams.
Yeah, it's certainly been fast this morning. Dean Harrison through the speed traffic, 209 miles an hour. You know what it's like as a local man to win here in that big class. a Dunlop win would feel very special around here, wouldn't it?
Yeah, look, of course, as I've said, I'm friendly with all the guys, and you know, most of them are probably English, to be perfectly honest. Probably have Alistair and Michael and another host local lads in there. I think a Dunlop win would be, this place will be as electric as it's been from 2017, and I would, yeah, look, I'm happy for anyone to win it, but I like, you know, I like a party atmosphere. Maybe enjoyed myself a little bit too much last year, but let's see if Michael can raise the roof of this place, and yeah, it's exciting.
Looks like Peter Hickman's just gone quickest there. But for you, you'll be here all week, enjoying it, being part of the event, enjoying the atmosphere as well.
Yeah, pretty much. Like Stephen, you're kicking on a bit now, and you're probably due to retire, and you know, I'm just picking up a little bit of experience, and then maybe take your job, and you can
no problem.
You can sit in the nursing home next year. BBC live stream on.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. I'll pass the baton to you next year, top man. Glenn Irwin, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Interesting on this timing screen at the moment, 22 of Paul Jordan is flying as well, the Macrofelt rider on the Jackson Racing powered by Prosper 2. Right up there in third place, Alistair Seeley is in fourth, but it's, as Stephen has said, Peter Hickman who is on top of Dean Harrison at the minute, and what sort of time have they done? 121.7 mile an hour.
Yeah, they're still 10 seconds off the fastest, I know, and the track is dirty, everyone's getting their bikes dialed in and everything else, but that is quite a considerable amount. I would have thought, I don't know how much longer we got this session. We hopefully might get some information down the bottom there, because that time, stoppage time will have been moved on, I suspect, and I'm guessing we've got another 15-20 minutes of this session.
Josh Brooks is someone that could pull something out of the bag here as well.
Had 2 seconds here, Josh, hasn't
Yeah, I mean, basically 2 second places. Second in the 2014, that was, I think. Only one, I think, I had him down for in Superbike 2 in 2014. But again, he's racing, Jackson Racing, powered by Prosper 2 as well, team, the 42-year-old Aussie. Be interesting to see if he can pull something off in this. Where is he at the moment? Still down there with a only 115 mile an hour lap, which is...
So we've heard from Glenn, Jenny. Who have you got down as your favourites?
I'm gonna have to go with Glenn and maybe, Dunlop. Yeah, just because he looks... He came into this last year with an injury, didn't he? He had a hand injury.
He did from Cookstown, I think it was. I noticed he did have a tumble at Le Mans in the endurance series that he's doing, but I don't think he hurt himself from what I could understand. He certainly dominated at Cookstown a couple of weeks ago. Peter Hickman has been so near. He's had all sorts of issues with, I think, the tyre problems when he was leading. In the Superbike, he had another problem. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he's got to be there or thereabouts, you would have thought.
Michael Dunlop's just shot up to fourth place, so he's just put in a lap as well at 119 miles an hour. So Michael is finding the groove. Yeah, he's taking his time. I love the way he took his time to go out for his opening lap. Everyone else went out there. He knows the track's dirty. He knows it's going to be slightly slippery at this point. He doesn't need to learn the track here at all, so he just needs to dial himself and the motorbike in perfectly well. That's the 38 of Werner Costamo, who's now come up to 6th place as well. So Costamo from Finland on another BMW is looking pretty good.
It's interesting watching Dunlop's team before, because he came back in straight away and they already made changes, so they made changes to gearing, and they did a fork change, they put a different spring in the front fork, so already...
He just indicated, when you just, I don't know if you just saw him there, something like that, nearly as if it's too stiff, I don't really know, whatever, wheel out of balance, I'm not too sure what he's indicating. Well, that front wing isn't working at number 38 there, is it? But then they don't at low speeds, they don't do a lot of low speeds, do they?
Rutter in close attendance as well. Michael Rutter on the number 4, mate. The Bathans bikes. I've got to say that the gold leaf on the Bathans bikes is pretty impressive.
John, look over his shoulder coming in, I suspect. I don't really know. 3rd place for him last year. I think he was the happiest guy in the paddock here last year with that podium position for John McGuinness.
Him and Rutter are 106 years between them.
Yeah, you're about 200, please.
Yeah, but how do you feel? You can't remember, can you?
No.
I think we'll go there with these youngsters in the commentary position with us. 66 machine comes into view. That is Ryan Gibson from Banbridge. Another BMW.
Craig Neve there, number 9. Respect, those bikes always look great, don't they?
They do.
I believe the BMWs from Michael. He runs a good ship there. It always looks spectacular.
Let's go back down to pit lane then, and well, you've got to say that the man that makes it happen, along with a great team, is with Stephen.
He certainly does. He makes this event tick. You've got a great team around you as well. Mervyn, how has it been this morning?
Yeah, things have been good this morning. We got the newcomers away in good time this morning after a few issues early on. Just, newcomers away, we give them the full season. We're down to the Superbikes at the present time. Unfortunately, we had a bit of slight oil spill at University Corner, which we had to deal with. But they're back out on the course again, so we're playing a slight catch-up at the present time, just, and then with the further 3 sessions this afternoon.
You seem to deal with that pretty quickly, though.
Yeah, it was a fairly substantial oil spill. We now have the equipment to deal with it, and the good thing about it is we can get it cleaned up fairly quickly, so we just get it cleaned up and move on.
Riders from 19 different countries here this year. You've got the cream of the crop up in pit lane. How excited are you about what is in store this week?
Yeah, really excited at the moment. I suppose, we've been working on it for many, many months to carry a number of improvements, and you'll see a number of these around the start area itself, We did a lot of resurfacing. We did a lot of major work around the start area itself. And as you say, we have the 19 countries represented, which is really good. As far afield as America and New Zealand, and all really good top-class competitors from the Road Race Championship in Europe. So, along with all our guys, all the cream of the crop, if you like, at the end of the day, it's looking really good at the present time.
And to put this huge international show on, it's a real collaborative effort between North West Council, Road Service, Water Service. You all have to combine to make sure things are right.
Yeah, very much so. Then we have excellent support from the council here, County Coast and Glasgow Council. A good support from them type of thing, and course build and all the funding application which we make as well. Just so really pleased with that end of things. Plus the tourist board give us good support as well. So listen, we're very happy the way things are at the present time.
There will be thousands of people watching this coverage around the world on the iPlayer, on the website, and on the app as well. Your message to them if they're coming here this week?
Yeah, get to the course early. Get out as early as possible, type of thing, and purchase a program and support us at the end of the day.
I suppose it's a nice problem to have, but you're going to have huge crowds here to manage this Thursday and Saturday.
We'll have massive crowds here all together, just, but we'll just deal with it the way we deal on an ongoing basis.
Okay, Mervyn, thank you.
Thank you.
And we've got another red flag, sadly, at this moment in time. Don't know why just yet, but we'll bring you that information as soon as we can. So that session may well be brought to an end with this red flag, because we must be getting close to the terminal point of this opening Superbike session.
Yeah, next session due out is going to be Super Sport. That was due at 11, but we're obviously getting off an hour delayed because of the stoppages, so let's hope everything's okay out there. Jenny went to have a look to see how long the session was, but you couldn't read it, could you? I couldn't.
No, I couldn't see it.
No, I thought it was maybe my old eyes, but I think it was a bit dull there, so it's a little unfortunate this session's come to a halt. But I think most of the riders must have had the best part of an hour out there when you think about the two times put together.
But it's nothing like that situation.
They don't 7 laps. The most.
Yeah, but it's putting together that continuity, isn't it? That would go out there with a tank of fuel and just running the time in that opening session to try and get some mileage in and get your head dialed into a pretty unique place like this is. Gives us an opportunity, of course, to read through the list. Hickman on top at the moment with 121.7 mile an hour lap. Dean Harrison, second, 121.3. Alistair Seeley bumps his way back up into third place at the moment with 121.003. Paul Jordan, a 22 bike. I have to say that's a good opening session for the Macrofelt man. They're in fourth place. Erno Costamo, the Finnish rider, in fifth. Jamie Coward, again, not been here for a few years, so sixth place for him in the opening session is pretty cool. Michael Dunlop drops back down to 7th place. Michael Sweeney up to 8th place. John McGuinness in 9th place. And Harrison, as in the Nathan version, is there in 10th. That's how it looks at the moment. Colin Cameron just outside. Michael Ruff at 13th, looking down the order. Ian Hutchinson in the end up into 16th place with only 116 mile an hour lap as well. Josh Brooks on 115 mile an hour lap. How many laps did he do? He's only done 2 laps.
So I beg pardon. No, he's done 5 laps,
yeah.
but Josh, apparently, according to Lee, has to have everything just right. You know, just footrest, grips, bars, you name it. Nothing wrong with that, but sometimes you do have to.
You were like that. I was like that. Jenny, how are you when it comes to a motorbike?
I think I'm the opposite. I'm just right.
Just get out there and ride it.
Yeah,
I
but
bet
due to
the engineers love you.
She is our engineer.
Well, no, but if you've got anyone, they'll be.
I'd always be one of those riders that would completely blame myself. I'd never blame the bike. I'd be like, I'll just try and ride faster.
Well, Paul Jordan, I said he's having a good time out there at the moment, and of course, what does that bring you? It brings you Stephen Watson.
Oh, great session for you, fourth quickest.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised I didn't actually know I was fourth there. I was just watching my lap timer and I think we're not far off what my personal best have done right here already. And to be fair, like, the track's pretty green and dusty and stony and stuff, so we're just feeding away in and I'm just enjoying myself.
Yeah, you certainly are. Jackson Racing, good team, good combination.
Yeah, you know, the Jackson team, quite prosper, you know, put an amazing bike under me. I've got an amazing crew around me, as you can see, they're all working here behind me. And, you know, yeah, I'm really grateful I'm in this position. And we've put a hard winter in, so hopefully it pays off.
Yeah, you might have slipped in here slightly under the radar, but when people see your name fourth quickest in the Superbike qualifying, it's going to intensify a little bit, I'd imagine, for you.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not really thinking much about it. You know, in my head, I know what I can do, and I just need to start believing in myself. And I can believe I can be with these boys, and once I start believing, they'll know I'm here.
Yeah, how much is this about confidence for you?
Massive, massive. You know, we say we've done a real good winter test, and I came here now believing that I am capable of running with the likes of Davy Todd, Michael Dunlop, Josh Brooks, you know, and you know, and I want to be in the mix with them. So, as you say, you know, confidence is a key factor in this.
Yeah, when you've got a double British Superbike champion as your teammate, it kind of gives you a good benchmark. Beat your teammate, you're not going to be too far away.
Yeah, of course. You know, the number one rule is beat your teammate. You know, and Josh came into the camp, and you know, he's raised the bar for the team and myself. So I have to up my game now to be with him.
I'm sure good condition out there.
Yeah, it's quite stony, you know, as you know, as we all know, it's a public road. You know, we can't have it like a Brands Hatch or whatever, so we just have to suck it up. And as the week goes on, the track will come good, and the times will even get faster. So yeah, roll on the rest of the week.
Let's hope we're chatting lots more as the week goes on. We can hear from your teammate now. He's with Larry.
Josh Brooks down here. Well, another red flag out there. Josh understands it's for oil yet again, so not quite getting as many laps as you want out there. How does that affect you? You just want to get a reasonable run at the session, he kicks in the red flags.
Yeah, at the moment I'm pretty relaxed about it. We've still got a lot of bikes and sessions and daylight and sunshine to you know, get plenty of laps in. But obviously it'll be a bit frustrating for many people that they just want to get on and get doing some laps, and especially the newcomers. You know, they want to get as many laps in and learn as quick as they can. So it's a bit frustrating for everybody, but I'm so almost certain that nobody wants to you know, lose some oil out of their bike and cause a red flag.
Josh, we've had a lot of Australian riders who've come across to the Northwest 200. We've yet to see one take the victory. We've had plenty of riders that have finished runner-up, but is this going to be the year that you actually break that duck?
I'm not sure. I didn't realise there weren't any Australians that had won the Northwest 200. Yeah, I came close on my opening year in 2014. I got second, so yeah, maybe we can do better this weekend, but we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know any better than you at this point.
And as far as the sessions out there, the Honda, it's a new proposition for you this year. You're riding for a different team in BSB and a slightly different team out here. How is the Honda performing out there at present?
Yeah, well, I'm not measuring too much about the Honda's potential at the moment because the electronics are trying to control the wheelie, and obviously here on a road circuit the wheels are often off the floor. So every time it recognises the front wheel leaving the ground, it's trying to cut the power. So we're just backing the settings off more and more just to let the bike have full power, and I can control that myself with my right hand and a bit of rear brake. So I haven't actually got a chance to feel exactly what the bike's capable of, still just dialing a few things out, but that's pretty normal for opening session. You know, obviously I'm used to riding these bikes in British Superbikes, but you know, a street circuit is completely different environment, so we have to yeah, look at things in a different way.
Well, we wish you all the best with that task to try and be the first Aussie to win a race. Just good luck.
Thank you very much.
And Stevens with Philip.
Yes, I'm here with Philip McCallan, who's just getting a bit of insight from Paul Jordan, who's had a great opening session there, Philip.
Yeah, but do you know why he's had a great opening session, Stephen?
No, you're going to tell me.
Well, I know, because you don't. No, Paul's a good guy. I've known him for years. I've watched him develop every year. You know, he gets a bit more mature, he gets more experience, and he climbs up the ladder another step. You know, so he's climbing up the ladder, and he's put a lot of work in this winter. You know, he spent like a month. He spent really a lot of the winter in Thailand training. So, you know, that all shows and pays off. He's also spent nearly a month in Spain on that CBR Fireblade 1000cc. So he's pretty happy with that bike. He's done hundreds and hundreds of miles on it. So it all showed when he's out there. And it's, like we said before, and the boys, preparation is everything, you know, mentally and physically. So physically he feels in very good shape. Mentally, obviously, he's in good shape. He's feeling happy with that bike, and he's put it on 4th position on the grid.
He has come here before and done very well, but he probably feels, listening to him, that he has underachieved, and he feels that this could be his year. That's the sense I'm getting from him anyway.
Well, I get that feeling as well from him, and obviously he's smiling and he's talking happy, and he's 4th in the grid for that last session, so why would you not be happy? And you know, and like he has a little bit less experience around here than the boys he's up against, really. So you know, give him a few more laps, and he's already happy on that bike. He's going to be out on the super sport bikes whenever those are out later on today, and the super twin bike. So by the end of today, he'll have got some serious amount of laps around here.
Yeah, certainly will. Okay, let's hear from Peter Hickman.
Yeah, Peter Hickman down here again with a brand new Lou 810 racing team, the new 810 racing team out there, and looking good at present from your side of the garage, Peter, in that session. I think Davey had 1 or 2 problems. We'll see if we can find out a little bit about that, but so far so good.
Yeah, so far so good. You know, we've fresh off the back of Alton Park, which we were not ready for, and we're nearly not ready for the Northwest either. You know, no secret, everything's come very, very late. But starting the team from scratch in February was never going to be an easy task, and the team's done a fantastic job. All the boys and girls, honestly, working really, really hard, day and night, to make sure we made it to these races, and here we are. You know, everything's feeling pretty good. Alton Park was not too bad for myself, to be quite honest. Only a 10th off my fastest ever, really, around Alton Park on a brand new motorcycle that I only rode on Saturday. So, yeah, I'm really happy and really content with where we are at the minute.
It all came around pretty late in the season, Pete, and I know that throughout testing and what little bit of testing you managed pre-season, and here at Alton Park at the weekend and now here at the Northwest 200, as a joint team owner, there's added pressure on you to trying to deliver this year?
I don't know if there's added pressure. You know, at the end of the day, we want to turn up and we want to come here and win, and that's what we're aiming to do. That's the whole point of going racing, isn't it? We don't turn up here because we want to finish second or worse. So, yeah, I don't think there's any added pressure. You know, we work hard. Both me and Davey are working really hard at it. The rest of the team's working really hard at it, and you know, already that's showing. You know, there's not many teams that could turn around a full superbike, super stock team in 8 weeks and be ready to come here at Northwest and Alton Park, and we've done it. So yeah, massive credit to the team and all the sponsors, BMW, of course, LEW, Monster. It's been yeah, everyone's pulling together and making it happen.
Looking for that first big bike win. How was the bike in them opening few laps?
Really good, actually. It's exactly as I rode it at Alton Park on Monday. We've been steadily progressing with the bike over the weekend, getting a little bit faster and a little bit faster every time I threw my leg over it. And yeah, actually probably the most comfortable I've ever felt on a superbike around the North Coast. So yeah, looking forward to it. It feels pretty good so far. Did a 25 then, I think, so not too bad for the first run out. New tarmac's really, really good that they've laid, so organisers and the government, whoever did that bit of tarmacking has been really good, actually. I know the organisers worked really, really hard with the people doing that, and they've done a fantastic job.
Okay, let me just see if I could just grab a very quick word with your team, joint team owner, David Todd, because he looked like he had a slight problem in that session, just with his crew chief, Stuart Johnson. Davey, if I could just interrupt very, very quickly for the BBC, P68 out there, that's not what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, that's not really showing where we're at right now. We just, I'm sick of saying it, to be fair. We've got brand new bikes, we've had no testing whatsoever. The boys have been building the bikes up in the awning up there yesterday when we arrived, and this morning even. So we've been tight on getting everything finished, but we got that. Just had a couple of issues there when I first went out, and
what were the issues?
I had an issue with the rear brake. Believe it or not, the pads fell out, but a stone's hit weird freak.
Good odds on that.
But, yeah, so I lost my rear brake and some of the other little issues with the front brake because we're running real cooled front brakes. The BFD makes them really heavy on the brakes, but here you don't get the heat in them enough, so they don't work. The gearing was out a little bit. With this new bike, it's complete guesswork at the minute for us. So yeah, we're figuring things out, trying as quickly as possible, but. The lap isn't all that, you know, like, I just come out the pits and I got my first, like, out lap. I didn't actually complete a flying lap there before the red flag, but I got an out lap and reeled in Seeley, who's sitting in P3, so we're at least P3 or even better, really, where we've actually got the pace for. We're just trying to get rid of these teething issues with the new bike, but the Monster Energy 810 Racing BMW team, all the boys are doing a fantastic job. They're working their asses off, so yeah, we'll get there.
Sure you'll sort it, Davey. Good luck. And I think Lee has got Dean Harrison with him.
Yeah, I'm down here at the Honda 10, and first of all, the first session of the Superbikes has just gone. Obviously, Dean didn't get a chance to ride a Superbike last year, but he's gone out there straight away, first session, 209 mile an hour.
Yeah, the bike's going well, to be fair. We've got a good start. Quite a lot of traffic out there today, to be honest. The grid's quite a bit bigger this year, so it's just trying to find a bit of space. And the lads are giving us a good slipstream, though, down towards university, so it helped the top speed a little bit.
Yeah, so you've been predominantly concentrating on your Supersport thing in British Championship this year, so you've not done a lot of miles on the Superbike. How did that feel to get out there on the first session?
Jumping on the Supersport bike, all I get on that was like, you're going towards university first lap like this, because the thing's absolute missile. But no, we didn't have a massive amount of time on it. We went to have an extra day. Robert got a bit of rain. We've done one day at Navarre on it, so a little bit limited. But I'll be honest, it feels good. The Superbike feels pretty good straight off the bat, really. And it's got some power in it. I'm just trying to make it a little bit easier to ride, just to get off the slow turns a little bit better. But it's quite difficult to find in the first session because they're saying, "Oh, what's the grid like?" And you know yourself, you've raced your years. You know what I mean? The track's so dusty the first session. It takes a little bit of rubbering in before it comes to. So I'm sort of not changing out in that area, just going to let the track come to us and go from there tomorrow.
Yeah, we've had a bit of a talk in the commentary box that you're one of the few guys with the same team, same bike for this year, obviously getting the full-blown Superbike. So we've got a few quid on you for this week for your first Northwest 200 win.
All right, cheers, mate. No pressure.
Thanks very much. Good luck for the rest of the week, team.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
So there we have it, Dean Harrison under pressure, courtesy of the BBC Northern Ireland commentary box booth. There's John McGuinness, he's had his problems this morning as well, so, I mean, Jenny is with us, Jenny Timothy's with us up here in the commentary box. How would you analyse his opening few laps?
It sounds like they're having to clean the track more than anything. They can't get completely stuck in, can they? Because they've got to do a bit of road sweeping to start with, and you won't want to be risking anything until you've got rid of them stones and the dust. I spoke to Barry Burrell after his newcomers lap, and he said it was really, really dusty, so that was the main thing that sort of surprised him. So yeah, a bit of road sweeping, but all that considered, the times they are doing is pretty rapid.
Is that a heat haze I can see by the Briggs equipment? It's incredible. I can't. It's lovely here. Well, let's go back down to pit lane, and I think Davey Johnson is with us. Larry is with Erno Costamo, who is looking very good in 5th place at the moment. Larry.
Well, my Finnish isn't as good as what Erno's English is, but we've got his translator Jona here just in case. But session out there, Erno, that was very, very good for you. I think you were P6, P7, very, very good for an opening time here.
Joo, ensimmäinen tosi hyvin, että siinä 5-6 sijaan ja kaikki hyvin. Ekana oli pieni tekniikkaongelma, mutta se saatiin ratkaistua mekanikkojen kanssa tosi nopeasti ja erittäin tyytyväinen tähän aloitukseen, että suunnitelmien mukaan.
Very good first practice session, maybe P5, P6. Everything went very well. We had a little technical difficulties on the start of the session, but after that everything is going to the plans.
P5, we just had it confirmed. That is a great start to the season. Perhaps you might be the first ever Finnish winner around the Northwest 200.
Terveisiä kaikille.
Greetings to all the fans in Finland.
Perhaps we have people listening all around the world from Finland. We're getting lots of good luck messages in for you. Perhaps you would like to say something to them who are listening around the world?
Ei mitään. Kiitos kaikille paneille ja etenkin sponsoreille, että ollaan täällä. Että kyllä.
thank you for all the fans and all the sponsors and everything who are supporting us and everyone's liking.
Well, good luck. I'm not sure what good luck is in finish, but good luck this week, and hopefully you can be up there, at least perhaps challenging for a podium.
I hope so.
That's about the best bit of the interview. Well, no, thanks very much.
Larry Carter then. Next job this evening is to learn Finnish in a day. And so we're in the commentary position at the moment with Steve Parrish, myself, Keith Ewan and Jenny Timothy stayed with us. We've got another stoppage, if you've just joined us here on BBC Northern Ireland, for another oil spillage. So that's 2 red flags, 2 oil spillages. And a very annoying break in the opening qualifying session, the opening practice session.
Maybe looking for a couple of brake pads out there.
As well. Yeah, that's something that made us all cringe a little bit in here.
Rear isn't good, which even I know, but front is horrendous. Front is definitely worse. In fact, I'll tell you what, Terry Reimer came here, I think he only came the once. I don't blame him, he had the brake pads come out into Metro. And reckons he virtually got down to the
seaside.
Yeah, down to the inn down the bottom there. So he went through that gap very, very fast.
Well, while we practice our finish, we'll have a couple of laps, Supersport laps, that should look very entertaining in this break, Steve.
Absolutely. Dean Harrison. So let's have a look. Dean, the man's on form at the moment.
Northwest 200, 2023 start line, just before the lights go out. You get a little engaged gear board, and you've got to be really careful off the start, to be honest, because the bike's geared to go so fast that you've got to slip the clutch a bit to get it off the line, and you want to be careful not to fry the clutch, because I'm not going to lie, I have done it before, and I've broke down in the race, so you have to be careful. So, eyes on the lights, and away we go. There we go, what a bad little jump that. Now it's head down now, and just, I'll see, I want the best to start, it's got a few coming past. And now it's into turn 1, and you got the careful on the right, and then just stay on this all the way around here. This can be slippy, especially in the wet here, because you've got to think diesel and stuff spills out of vans and trucks all the way around. Big corners, I don't actually know what that right little King's Call they get out of the roundabout, but you've got to get such a good run out of there, because I just feel like I lose a bit of time out there. Just like then I lost a bit of time on Michael all the way down to Mathers Cross Chicane. This is so bumpy into you, honestly. You can just see the bike starting to move around. Again, there's 3-2-1 boards here that I use as a reference point all the way to the braking zone and just get your eyes settled, because it's so difficult to run straight on here to get the thing stopped anyway. Back down first, short shift second on the way out, and again, try and get everything tucked in again now, and the run down to McAvoy Chicane. Get shot to death again with a few storms down here with all the bikes to the front, and get tucked in. Because the weather today looks absolutely beautiful. Hopefully it's like this this year. This is another difficult one. This is the fast chicane here. Back down to second gear for this one. And you've got to try and get yourself in slowly and out fast, and then get the run down to Metropole and just get tucked in. You see the Ducati in front of us here. See the storm then, it'll come up on the camera. Big crowds all the way down here, which is great to see. Everyone's enjoying a good day's racing and everyone hooning down the road. And this is the real start of the technical section. The first part of the track we've just done is a very, not say it's not technical, but it's not as technical as it coming up. In a Metropole now, so you'll go with a bit of an undulation, see the bike dropping here. And the run now all the way, and I said it's really to Mill Road roundabout all the way back through past Sam Finish is really technical. It's under all the coast road section up through Church here, up under the train lines. And you've got to be careful, the cambers, bumps, manhole covers, and the bike's just moving around so much, and you've got to be really careful of where you are on the track. Black Hill here is very, very, very dodgy, I find, because the road drops away from on the exit here, and it's so difficult on the top, and it just feels slippy. It feels like you don't have the grip available that you need. Run down now, this is probably where I need to improve, because this is where all the overtakes done on the last lap to take the win here. 3-2-1 board into Juniper Hill Chicane. Then back down to first gear here, change your tarmac again, you feel the bike move round once you hit a bit of loose gravel. Up to second through the flip-flop, and the run up now up to the last crest. I'm not quite sure what you call this crest here. I should have done a bit of research, I forgot what you call this here. But this is a total blind off camber downhill left hand corner. At the approach that, you're at full lean and you can't even see the apex. Over the start line now to start a flying lap, and we've got this little extra chicane in.
Back down to first, right, left, and then it's a run out up to fourth gear, up to turn 1. Obviously the northwest varies a little bit because your Sally roundabout, you call it, or the Manju roundabout, it's got a few names over the times. Just sort of try to pick us up to, try to get as close to the front as we can here. Again, you don't realise actually, it's the first time, I can't remember last time I watched an on-board lap for the northwest to be honest. And you don't realise how long the strikes are and how much slipstream is and how important it is to have a fast motorbike in. And then it goes as Ducati again of Alistair. I still can't believe how bumpy the road, you just see the back wheels skipping off the ground as Ducati there on the left. Back down to first gear again, in, out. They actually opened that chicane up a bit. When they first did it, it was a little bit tight, so they opened it up a little bit to make life a little bit easier. See how well the Ducati goes, see if we can get the slipstream on it. Here we go, it's pulling us in now. We haven't quite got the power to get past, we've got to pull back in the slipstream. The 600's so much easier to ride round here than the big bike. The 600's a little bit of fun. I'm so looking forward to going back this year on the 600. Great fun. That's second gear again. Macro boy, try and get the good one out. You've got to be so careful at Macro boy as well. The little curb on the right can very easily catch you out, because as you tip to the left, it makes the right become blind. And you so many people run over the curb and things like that on the exit. Big overtaking place into here, especially on the last laps. It's sort of setting yourself up for the coast road. But all the way down first, you can use second here, but I always end up going to first, short shift second. But you do the turn in, you'll see the bike going negative camber, it wants to pull you into the right a little bit. Same here, cross cambers again. Knee over the, I always run my knee over the little ballards on the right, the metal ballard, you feel the bang as you go over them. Manhole over there, just on the left, turn set at the inside of it, and then run out and drive up towards Black Hill again. Still, this is probably one of my worst corners on the track is Black Hill. You see there's like, Alistair took a different line to I took, and I'm still not convinced which is better than the other, but it's quite difficult to get the run out of it. Full tuck now, all the way down to Juniper Hill chicane again, back down to first gear, and short shift second on the way out. No one's dragged any gravel on the track, which always someone been through the gravel at some point. Second, up to third, fourth, all the way to I'm not quite sure. I should have figured. I'm trying to think what this is called here. Not sure. This one might be Juniper Hill. I'm not quite sure. But again, definitely one of the most difficult corners on the track is it to get right. Feels very easy to lose the front. Over the line to start another lap of the northwest again.
Well, that was a fabulous onboard explanation with Dean Harrison. There will be no more Superbike qualifying. The Super Sports will be out next, and while we wait for them to go on track, I always love talking to these guys. The Chalk brothers from Limerick, Liam and James. Great to see you again. How has the Northwest been this morning for you, Liam?
It's fantastic as the weather, as you can see, it's fabulous. Superbike qualifying, it's a good start to the morning. The loot hard is down by the magic roundabout, things are just fantastic. It's in a great shape again. Fair play to all the organisers and everything that helps set up the Northwest 200. It's just beautiful, it's just enjoying the day.
Certainly is. And for you this morning, things went pretty well?
Yeah, this morning went so far. So I had a slip and clutch issue there on the first run, and thankfully the boys got it sorted. And I'm on a new BMW this year, so to have the weather and a new bike is something else here at the North Coast. But it's unbelievable. Can't thank everyone enough, the organisers, our sponsors, our supporters, everyone. It's great to be here.
We know the speed here is obviously very special. Speed trap this morning, 200 miles per hour, did you? First time?
First time ever, I just have to brake at 200 miles an hour, so...
What was that like?
It's nice actually, it's a long enough, so I wasn't too bad. But I really enjoyed it, so hopefully just keep chipping away now for the next few days and see where we'll be.
You always have a beautifully turned out team. Bikes look fantastic. Tell us a bit about the support you've had this year.
This year obviously we've upgraded James to BMW, and we've also brought me with a ZX6 to the Northwest 200 as well, so I'm on 2 bikes this year. We're delighted to have the Chalker Racing Supporters Club back on board. Everyone has helped out in a massive way. We also have Lion Hour Cold Stores back on board with us. They've been a massive help to getting us here to the Northwest 200. We've Lee Trends as well, international haulage company. they're back with us again this year, and it's made a massive help to us. WR Shaw have rejoined again, and we did have a couple of new sponsors this year. They're all local businesses from Rackhill and County Limerick that have helped out. We've Cara Motorhomes there. They've made a great effort to help us. We've James Key Plant as well, and Groundworks is back on giving a hand. We also have a new company, O'Callaghan Transport. They're back helping. They're huge motorbike fans themselves. They've decided to help me and James out this year with tyres and fuel for the Northwest 200.
Yeah, it's a real community feel about your team. And to all the Chop Supporters Club watching this morning,
I just want to say hello to everyone and thanks for everything they do for us. Without the Supporters Club to be impossible. And along with the few new sponsors, it's a privilege to be here and have them behind us. And hopefully we can fly the flag for Limerick.
Absolutely. Privileged to have you on the cover. It's great to talk to you guys. Michael Dunlop, of course, is another of the big fans' favourite here at the Northwest 200, and I caught up with him yesterday. Well, Michael, how are you feeling about the Northwest 200 challenge this week?
Yeah, it's really good. The weather's looking mint at the minute. Today's beautiful. I think the rest of the week's will be right good, so all being well, we should be in for some real good racing and hopefully bumper crowds.
I know you were struggling with Superbike. What's the situation now for that big class?
Yeah, we're in the middle of it there now. The lads were all building away at the Superbike at the minute, so with Superbike all the stuff started to arrive there now, but it's lastminute.com, so the first run we're going to get is up heading down to Coleraine, so no, it should be good. Look, the boys are working hard here now, it's like everyone lastminute.com, but everyone is now officially landed, so all being well, we'll be ready to rock tomorrow morning.
Can we expect a big week from Michael Dunlop this week?
I would like to think so. I like to think look, I'm going to give it a go, that's for sure. Big bike's very unknown, but there's no reason why it shouldn't be on the money, so I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to do big bikes on the 600 just to see where we're at. Obviously move on to the V2, so it'll be interesting to see what it's like compared to the rest of the bikes.
Yeah, do you feel you've had enough setup time with those machines just to have them on song this week?
Probably. We built, let's say, a new bike for here, a brand new V2, so the one we'd used last weekend won't be being used here as a spare, but we built a brand new one, so sometimes a brand new one never feels like the old one, but hopefully all being well, like, we get stuck in. There's no reason why say we can't have a go. There's going to be a lot of boys looking to have a go, and I'm going to be one of them.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be a really competitive week. A lot of big quality riders here.
Yeah, and I think with the weather, if I can make it even better again, you know what I mean, we'll be in the midst of it really. I think it's going to get definitely hot and heavy. When there's going to be a lot of boys looking to shine, so it'll be interesting.
I know last year obviously the TT was your focus, record breaking year, but I have a feeling that you would like to perform here at your home event as well.
Yeah, it's quite frustrating because over the last few years anyway, I've been knocking on the door. 13 we were definitely on the door knocking, or 23 sorry, we were knocking on the door, and obviously the red flag in the last bike race after a lap or 2 laps or something it wasn't even called the race was quite frustrating because we were on the background of it. Last year obviously we struggled with an injury that, you know, I could do 2 or 3 laps and after that fell apart. And all being well today, if this year hopefully we can get off to a good start. Weather's good, track time, we can get as much track time as we can, and I would like to, there's no reason why we can't run at the front or be at the front, so we just need to put it all into place at the one time and have a go.
Being a Dunlop always brings more pressure, but do you really feel the love when you come to an event like this, big home support for you here?
Okay, we're obviously being local, and obviously from obviously my dad and Uncle Joey's there, there's a lot of people, hardcore fans around here, so I would like to try and put on a show for them, and I would like to try and do the best, well I always do, try to do the best I can, hopefully I can shine.
Michael Dunlop then giving us the lowdown, and we are expecting the Super Sports out in a moment, so that's the end of the opening Super Bike session. Practice very disjointed, 2 red flags in there, not everybody getting the kind of time on track that they want, and the continuity of setup that they would be looking for in the opening session. But with the weather set to be sunny for the whole week, they will get another go at it. Michael Dunlop will be out in a moment on the Ducati, of course, for the Super Sport. And we can go down and back to Stephen, who has got Connor Cummins with him now down in pit lane.
Yes, I'm here with Connor Cummins. You've been coming here a very long time. I think 2004, your first year at the Northwest? 2006. I mean, it's almost 20 years at this event. New team this year, feels like a new challenge as well.
Yeah, it's got some great kits with John Boyers and RK Racing, Ducati here for Super Sport, and BMW for big bike classes. So yeah, there's a lot of effort gone into it from both sides. I'm excited to get out on the track again.
I think after a disappointing year last year. You seem to have got a brand new focus this year. You've got a point or two to prove, it feels like.
Yeah, definitely putting the past behind me, you know. Yeah, clean slate and just ready to get going with it. As I said before, it's a great team, great bikes, and I'm really excited. I've got to spring back in my step again.
Yeah, I can feel that, and obviously you've had some good results here in the past.
Yeah, we've had a few podiums here before, and I want to do better. So
feels like you want the top step.
Yeah, that's why we're all here. So I'm no different.
And do you feel this setup you've got good enough to win here this week?
Yeah, definitely. The bikes are really good. I just got to twist the throttle and go hard.
You make it sound very easy, Connor. Thank you very much. John Burrows, team owner, is here with me as well. John, first of all, how good to get a quality rider like Connor in your team this year?
I'm absolutely delighted to have Connor on board. I've known Connor for a long time and raced against him in the past as well. And keep telling me he spoiled my show in 2007 when he came to the national road racing. But you know, things have been going good, and you know, I suppose he's mature, and you know, lap times Connor can circulate around here and do a lap, and then he just find a lap and put it in and then shut off again. So he probably, we're going to see more from Connor hopefully.
Do you feel something slightly different about Connor, even though he's been coming here nearly 20 years, because of the disappointment of last year, that he's got something to prove?
Look, you know, to have him on board, to come here and hopefully be competitive, the effort that is put in across the winter from me, from the team, from the boys, from the sponsors, it's a big push, and you know, there's no pressure on Connor to do it. Certainly everybody likes the result, and that'll be great if we get it, but you know, I think you do a good job, and obviously we have a bigger picture after this as well. Next year we have the Adamanti team.
Of course, where he's from, of course, very popular with the fans, Connor. Before I let you go, how's your son, Jack, getting on at the moment?
Yeah, Jack's doing good, isn't he? We haven't done our first round yet at BTC. We've done some testing on Donington Park, and he finished up P11. So look, he's made a massive step from last year. He still has another step to make, like, but as your son, we're enjoying it, and I believe in him that he can do a good job, you know. So
still so young too.
Hopefully he'll be a bit more consistent this year.
Okay, John, thank you very much indeed. We can hear from Richard Cooper.
Richard Cooper, one of the Supersport winners from last year. Well, you've not done a lot of racing recently, Richard. You haven't got the ride at BSB at present, so the last time you were out was Daytona, the last time competitively before that, Brands Hatch last year. So a little bit ring rusty, would you say?
Yeah, I guess as far as racing terms concerned, a little bit rusty, but I've been out riding actually over here, a little circuit called Kyrgyzstan, a couple of private tests there on both the Supersport and the Super Twin, and you know, same bike to me, same teams, you know, continuity is key, and yeah, I'm really happy with where both bikes are, and you know, I feel like okay, the bikes might be getting dated slightly, but you know, I'm ready for the battle.
Especially with the new generation Supersport rules, of course, everybody thinks it's the old Supersport 600 where everybody runs a 600 bike, but now, with the rules being as they are, you run a 9590 Ducati, you can run a GSX-R 750 Suzuki, the R6 and everything else. It's all done on weight and power, effectively. So, are you a fan of the new rules?
You know, like it or hate it, we have to, you know, be part of it, and I think it's making for great racing throughout the World Championship and the British Championship. You know, which is the right or wrong bike to be on? I can't give you that answer. You know, I've ridden both. I've ridden the Triumph 765. I ride the R6 here. I feel they both had advantages and disadvantages. You know, and I guess it's who can make the best of what they've got underneath them now. You know, it's fair to say if the man winning at the front is riding a Honda, it doesn't mean necessarily I can win on one.
Yeah. Well, wish you well, and hopefully you can add to those 5 Northwest wins, Richard.
Just want to mention the boys at work who are watching at Myra. Shout out to you boys.
You've managed to skive off.
I managed to skive off. Probably unpaid, but I managed to do it anyway.
Sure, we'll be getting some messages in.
Cheers.
Thanks, Richard. And Stevens with Lee.
Well, Lee, this is your class. This is the class you ride in the British Championship. What makes the best machine here for the Northwest 200?
Yeah, funny, I've just been having a quick chat with Peter Hickman there. He's obviously on the CM765 Triumph that I ride. It's a bit different here because on a short circuit you want a bike to get a bit more punchy and get out of the corners, and it doesn't matter as much here. So we did a little bit of a preview chat before. This class is a bit harder to explain now. So normally Supersport was just 600cc Supersport bikes. They were all the same size, but the likes of Conor Cummins is now on a 900cc V-twin, which is a V2 Ducati. Obviously the Triumph is a 765, but it's all capped on electronics and horsepower and torque, so it's pretty much been leveled out, and it makes for a really good race.
It certainly does. Does the size of a rider matter on a machine like this?
Yeah, it should do. Obviously power to weight ratio. In British Championship there's a combined rider and bike weight, which is 239 kilos, so I'm as light as I possibly can be, so therefore our bike has to be a set weight, but I believe at the Northwest it's just a bike weight, so if the weight of the bike is same for everyone, but you've got someone like Richard Cooper against Peter Hickman, no offence Pete, he's probably 15 kilos heavier, so there's definitely big advantage to be had in being slightly smaller here. So obviously the likes of Richard Cooper went really well last year, but if Pete and Michael Dunlop and these guys on the bigger engine bike with more torque, with being bigger, it sort of evens up the playing field.
Main contenders here, what do you think? You can pick one of a handful, couldn't you?
Yeah, there's obviously there's genuinely at least 5 or 6 people that could probably win the race, never mind get on the podium. So I'm not going to say any names right now. We'll maybe give it another day's practice. But firstly, we've got Davy Todd back on the Malenko by Paget's Honda. Obviously, after riding the Ducati last year, Dean Horace is going really well in the British Championship on the factory Honda. Paul Jordan, Conor Cummins, Michael Dunlop, Richard Cooper.
It's going to be an absolutely class race. Talk me through the mindset of some of these riders, because it's all slightly different. Some, like Richard Cooper, likes to come out, sit at the front of the grid, wants his bike out the front. Others, like Michael Dunlop, just relax in the garage, take it easy, don't like coming down here. Is it just horses for courses? Every rider's different?
Yeah, I think Richard's doing that just mainly to upset the guys at work. We heard that he's telling them that he's having a day off, so maybe he can still put an invoice in for being here. But yeah, it's different for each rider. I like being at the back and getting my own free track time, and you can check all your brake and motors, and you're not getting upset by other riders. And there's been quite a mention already of the dust and the stones, so you can easily puncture a radiator, crack your screen, and that's half your session gone, wasting time with little things. So that's obviously the way Michael feels as well. He hangs back, and if you can get away right at the front, then that's fine, because you're in the same position. But then you've obviously got the time of getting back round, catching back markers, so there's a lot of variables here, and a lot of luck is involved as well.
Davy Todd looking very relaxed here, down in the front of the grid, having a little lie down as well. He's a kind of laid-back fella, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got that relaxed character. Honestly, the last week or two, I think I've seen him doing more work than his whole life with setting up the new team with Pete. He's been carrying things around the pits and all sorts, so I don't know if things like that will affect him as well, because he's that used to being laid back, and he's been in good teams for a while now and not had to think about anything other than riding the motorbike, and all of a sudden he's now a team owner, team manager, so there's a lot more things coming into play, and that might actually factor in his racing as well.
You know how difficult that is, because you've obviously been doing that, trying to keep sponsors happy, get the bikes right. You're more hands-on rather than just arriving into a team and getting on the bike.
Yeah, previously when we were in Ashcourt racing, that's what I did, and I enjoyed that. And Peter Hickman's a really good example. He does all that, or he has done all that in his team, but that doesn't always work for everyone. So it might not work for Davy Todd, and it might possibly be the making of him. So we're going to find out in the next few weeks.
Okay, well, let's hear from Davy Todd. Here's from Larry.
It's just like being back in the northeast coast down here, isn't it, Davey? Absolutely wonderful weather that we've got down here, and great to see you in some Paget's Malenko leathers. The old band's back together.
Absolutely, it is. Like you said, it's like just like being sat on the beach in sunny Saltburn right now. Yeah, back together with the Paget's team, Paget's family. I don't even like calling them a team; they're a family. Paget's family on the trusty old CBR 600. Clive's made a few modifications too, and well excited to get back out there and spend some laps on the bike that's already won me a few races around here.
It's a family you know well. You've won the National Superstock Championship for them a couple of years ago, and when you're part of the Paget's family, you kind of never leave it, do you?
No, absolutely not. When last year we parted ways, we kept maintain the best of friendship, and me and the whole team, you know, are still on excellent terms. So when there was the opportunity there to work together again, we jumped at the opportunity, I guess.
Fancy a bit of surfing later on in the North Sea? You brought the surfboard with you, have you?
I actually haven't, you know what, I haven't. I wish I had. I might have to rent one and head down there, maybe have a cheeky ice cream and a paddle out and see if there's any surf out there.
Well, we'll put the request out there now, David. If anybody in the Portrush area has a surfboard, make themselves known to you in the paddock and we're going to have a paddle later on.
Absolutely. You coming out?
I'll think about it.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.
Good luck, David.
Cheers.
There's a lot of smiles in the TV compound thinking of Larry out swimming in the bay. I tell you what, you'll be careful, otherwise you'll be harpooned. Looking at Peter Hickman then, and Jenny Timothy's with me here in the commentary box at the moment, and I've got to say, Hickey, he's got that kind of intimidating look about him at a place like this and the TT, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's like the main man, the go-to target.
It's like he knows something that we don't know.
Well, he certainly knows more than I do, that's for sure, about getting around here now. So it's pretty impressive stuff. So Philip moves in on Peter Hickman. I don't know where he gets his size from either. I've said this many times before, because David, his dad Dave, is quite small. His mum's obviously quite small. But he is a giant comparatively. I mean, there was 15 kilos that was sort of guessed at the difference in weight between he and Richard Cooper. But I'd have said it was more.
Must have fed him too much when he was growing up.
Stood him in something that was very organic, perhaps, just to make him grow. But Hickman is a weapon around here. There's no doubt in it. I'm looking forward to this Supersport session, actually. Supersports for me is an ideal road circuit type motorbike. It's the kind of bike that they stop, they steer, they go reasonably well in straight line. I think it all gets a bit too hectic when you get to superbikes nowadays. 209 mile an hour earlier on today. I mean, that is becoming insane.
Yeah, insane. Supersport's a little bit calmer, isn't it? A little bit easier to handle and a little bit less to hang on to, a lighter bike as well, so easier to steer, like you say. They're just good little machines, aren't they? I think if you were coming in for the first time, it would be the ideal bike to come on.
And they've got no wings.
Some of them are, the CBR6 has got a little wing.
It's not quite as pronounced, perhaps, as the superbikes. But certainly, the Supersports class is going to be massively competitive. And John Burrows and co. keeping an eye on things. He's always good entertainment. There's no doubt in that. I think it's as much here as well about the people behind the scenes here in Northern Ireland. I mean, it's... How can such a small place as Northern Ireland come up with so many good sports people?
It's in their DNA, I think, isn't it? Particularly motorcycle racing. I'm not sure about...
Or golfing.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, golfing would be the same in some ways. But I do think it helps a lot that the people, the Irish people, get behind people.
Passion.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that is the passion. It's in their DNA. When you think about it, there's so many sponsors, like your transport companies and your building companies and whatever, which you don't seem to get quite as much, dare I say, across on the mainland or whatever you want to call it. And it's lovely to see that there is so much passion.
Television here gets huge audiences as well. You don't get those kind of audiences back over in the mainland UK, as far as that's concerned. Let's go back down the pit lane then. Stephen's got Kevin McGee with him.
Yeah, Kevin Keys is with me. How's this morning been so far? Yeah, it's been good, you know. We've got one run out there on the big bike. Came in a couple of times, didn't get one full lap due to a guy blew up in front of us there in that eye leak, but no, felt comfortable now. Looking forward to getting back on the 600s. Want to feel at home at, so yeah, looking forward to seeing what we can do with this. Is this a slightly different experience for you here this year, newcomer last year, of course? Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's we come back here this year, second year. Last year we had a little bit of unfortunate with the bike. You know, we only got 8 full laps of the place. 4 of them was a race lap. Had a brilliant battle with Christian Elkin and Dom Herbertson here, and finished P11. So I'd love to capitalise on that. I'd love a top 10 to be a dream. So yeah, that's what we're looking for. And top 10 possible on this machine? Yeah, absolutely. You know, Dark Core put amazing bikes underneath me, both on this the R1 and the R6. So yeah, we're looking to see it. I'd love a top 10 on both bikes, but yeah, definitely be looking for the big 600 race. Yeah, good team, loyal sponsors. It's a nice outfit you put together. Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've got some good sponsors on board personally and team-wise, so yeah, it's a great package. Brian and Keith, you know, I've brought on board Stephen McGill and Owen Tolan this year too to help Spanner on the bike, and that's made an amazing difference too. You know, it's leaving me just focusing on riding the bike and letting the boys do all the rest. Yeah,
And just finally, turn your helmet around there just to show the stickers that everyone is riding here this week. Obviously, as a celebration of the legend, Joey Dunlop. Is that important for all of the riders here this week?
Absolutely, you know, Joey Dunlop, he's a legend in motorcycle racing, and he put probably Ireland on the map for a motorbike. You know, if you talk to someone who knows nothing about motorbikes, to say you're going to be the next Joey Dunlop, you know, so yeah, he was probably before my time. I'm looking at the new hero now, which is Michael Dunlop, you know, the next Dunlop, so it's great to share a grid with Michael and carry the sticker in memory of Joy.
Yeah, special name, special family. Kevin, thank you very much indeed. We can hear from Christian Elkin.
Oh, good man, yeah. Christian Elkin, who won on his debut here at the Northwest 200 back in 2007 on the 250, and here again on the Supersport machine. But I understand, Christian, you just carried a little bit of an injury after a little bit of an off after weekend at Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, unfortunately we were racing over the Easter weekend, the bank holiday Monday. We had a fracture to the collarbone. Luckily the Royal Victoria Hospital made a really good job of plating it. So we're not 100% fit, we're fairly strong. Obviously we've been through all the medical procedures and everything, which was fantastic. Just like to shout out to Glenn Irwin, because Glenn Irwin put us in touch with a couple of people to help us on his recovery, so that was great. But yeah, we're here, we're going to enjoy it, and the weather's fantastic, and really looking forward to it.
A little bit of a challenge on the course road and the twisty bits, but when you get the little machine wound up on the long straights, it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
The biggest part really is the braking, but the shoulder's very stable. It's not like it's not stable, it's plated, so obviously I've not been able to train for the last while, so that's a bit of a shame. But no, we're looking forward to it. It's a fantastic day. We just want to get round, enjoy it, and everyone enjoy it.
Well, we wish you all the well, Christian. Stay safe and have a good run.
Thank you very much, Scoop.
And Stephen with Philip.
Look, alongside Rory McIlroy, George Best, Joey Dunlop is undoubtedly one of Northern Ireland's greatest ever sporting stars. A 5 times world champion who unfortunately lost his life racing in Estonia in the year 2000. 25 years on, Philip McCallan knew Joey so well. I think it's very fitting that all of the riders are carrying the Joey Dunlop livery here this week, just to remember what a wonderful man he was.
I think it's absolutely brilliant that's happening, and it's probably usually, you know, riders moan about different stickers, different things on their bikes, but there is not one rider that I have heard is not proud to have a Joey Dunlop sticker on his bike, and that's amazing, you know. And obviously we're putting together with the council this event on the 24th of May, and the amount of response, as you know, because you've done most of the talking, you know, the Carl Fogartys and everyone else in this world, Joey Dunlop will be there. Yeah, that's the answer for everyone when you mention the name Joey Dunlop.
Yeah, and I know we've talked a little bit about that event on the 24th of May. It is very fitting that the family wanted that event in his hometown of Ballymoney. I mean, thousands of people are expected to turn up and celebrate Joey's life. More than 25 of his original machines will be ridden by riders like World Superbike stars Carl Fogarty, Jonathan Ray, Eugene Laverty will be there, Leon Haslam from the British Superbike Championship, Joey's teammates, Alex George, Ron Haslam, and a list of other famous riders who have all said, we will be there for Joey.
Yeah, and usually, you know, you say to a foreign rider, an English rider, whatever, you know, we want you to come to Northern Ireland, we want you to do this. Yes, the interest is there and they'd like to do it, but there's always a reason why they can't do it. But this time, no one has a reason why they're not coming to support Joey Dunlop. And we all do. You know, I raced Joey Dunlop, was one of the stars at my wedding. And, you know, he rode off with my wife on the back of a bike down the road. You know, and, you know, so I had a good relationship with Joey, and I still have a good relationship with his family, and they're all wonderful people. And Joey made us proud, and we of course, when he was here and with us, we knew how good he was, but when he passed away and was no longer with us, his name rose even further to the top. And as a sport icon, he is there with anyone, like in the world, he's our #1 motorcycle representative. So I don't know where to start, I don't know where to stop talking about Joey, because we had a good relationship. He had a charity side in him where he helped many, many people in need. You know, he also helped many people who wasn't in need. He had a relationship with everyone, and the people, everyone just loved Joey Dunlop for his persona, the way he done things. He just had his own way, and you can actually, Joey was a person that we all will know this. Joey would talk to you through his eyes. He could talk to you without actually talking, you know. And we would talk about racing and talk about stuff, and just the way he looked and the way he moved his eyes, you knew that was his answer, you know. So every single person has a story about Joey Dunlop.
Yeah, he was a wonderful man, a humble man, incredible talent on the track. You know, a real charming personality off the track as well. Could be quite difficult to get to know at times because he was very shy. But how special do you think it is that so many of these riders, including yourself, Bruce Anstey, Ryan Farquhar, British champion Adrian Coates, Michael Swan, so many riders that covered his whole career will be riding his original bikes in his hometown?
Yeah, that's just unreal. Like, where in the world are you going to get 25 bikes belong to any rider now? Because, you know, they've disappeared over the years, they've crashed, they've broken up, they've been dismantled, they've been sold, whatever. But, you know, as you know, we've been talking to many people, and the more people we talk to, they know someone else who has a Joey Dunlop bike, and they're only, some of those bikes are like a Davy Ray, his bikes hasn't been started for I don't know how many years. He's got a Yamsel and another 350 Yamaha. Well, he's bringing that bike back to life. The 750 Yamaha, the Ray Yamaha that Joey rode to a TT win, that's being ridden this year in a few weeks' time by young Johnny Ray. You know, it was owned by Grandad Johnny Ray, Dad Johnny Ray rode it.
That'll be very, very special.
Now the son, the grandson Johnny Ray is going to ride it. So there's brilliant stories to every one of Joey's bikes.
Yeah, wonderful that we can remember and celebrate the achievements of the incredible Joey Dunlop. And another of those riders who will be on one of Joey's bikes is Alistair Seeley. He's with Larry.
Alistair Seeley reunited with Kawasaki Power in the Supersport race here at the International Northwest 200. A lot of success in the Supersport class over the years. Is this win number 30? Should you stand your best chance for, Al?
Yeah, looking for the 30. You know, I've 7 cracks at the whip. 2 Supersport, 2 Superstock, and then obviously 3 in the Superbike. So we've reunited with Nick Morgan again, MSS, and obviously Chris Dowds. It's his bike, he owns it. So the tie-in with the 2 groups, hopefully supply good motorbike. I've done a bit of testing on it, and it's just a matter of taking it out now with long, tall gearing on it. See if it's handling itself over the bumps, and see if we can go around the corners pretty fast, and hopefully a little motor goes fast up the straight.
Did the year off have any effect on you? Obviously everybody else has got a few more laps in over and above what you got last year, but you know your way around here, you've got plenty of laps in. It wasn't too much of a problem, was it?
No, just kind of the first few laps, blowing the cobwebs away, getting used to the speed again. I think the first flying lap we were 202 miles an hour, so definitely blew the cobwebs away up the back straight. Just was getting familiarised with the track again, the new surface that went down, Magic Roundabout, few other patches around the course. And just trying to get the dust and the dirt blew off the track and get some rubber down so as we can sort of push on a bit once we get more laps under our belt.
Great memories of Kawasaki, of course, in the British Championship with Mike and Nomad Biraf on the Gearlink Kawasaki and the titles that you managed to take across there.
Yeah, obviously with Gearlink we had a brilliant 2013, 17 podiums out of a possible 24 races, so we definitely came home with plenty of trophies that year. Just missed out on the championship to Stuart Easton, but great year, ding dong, a bit like whenever me and Ben Wilson went at it. It was me and Stuart Easton that year, and yeah, it was good. Just missed the championship for them, but you know, they supplied good team, good bikes, and I come here actually and won a lot of races with them. So it was the record 16th win that I took on the Gearlink bike, so it stands in good stead, and I'll forever remember it.
Yeah, good luck on the weekend's work, and hopefully you can grab that big 30th victory and perhaps 1 or 2 others beside.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, you know, the caliber riders I'm up against, but we'll have a go. You know, we're here to have a go, and 7 cracks at the whip, as I say, so we'll see where we can get in position in the qualifying and the practice, and then just kind of look at stuff, sort the bike out, make it better as best we can for the races, and then, yeah, have a go Thursday night and have a go on Saturday.
Well, it's great to have the fastest postman in Carrickfergus back with us on the Causeway Coast, and hopefully going to add to them victories. Good luck, Alistair. We wish you well for that one. But now, Alistair Seeley wasn't here last year, but we can take a look at last year's Thursday Supersport race with the flying lap.
The Supersport race always gives us cracking racing around the 9 miles of the coast road here, and it's Fraser Holmes Supersport race with Richard Cooper, Davey Todd and Mike Brown on the Yamaha on the front row. Michael Dunlop, Adam McLean and Paul Jordan on row 2, that's a good row 2. Peter Hickman, Michael Sweeney and of course Connor Cummings on row 3. Elkin, Evans, Hutchinson, McCoy Craig Neve, Marcus Simpson, Dom Herbertson, Jeremy McWilliams across there with Mark Conklin joining them.
Right, number 47 there, he'll be fast, we know that. That's Cooper, Richard Cooper to get away, and it is going to be the number 1 of Davey Todd. Surely gets off the line really well. Not too much of a wheelie. That was a brilliant start from him. On board with Adam McLean on the J.E.C. roofing.
That Ducati was very lively. The number 1 bike then of Davey Todd out of the middle of the front row of the grid as they go down Millbank Avenue towards Primrose Hill, and then the breaking point at York Corner. First in there, Davey Todd. They're in there hot. Oh, that is terrible. McLean came in too hot. They were all out wide anyway, and McLean just found himself 2 yards too late on the brakes, and he has wiped out one of the favourites. Let's take a look at it. This is on board with Adam McLean. Davey Todd chips in. He's a bit wide anyway, but McLean comes in there, Steve, too hot.
Whether the brake fade or whether it was tight, I don't know what happened, but he was way too hot, wasn't he? Just slammed down the inside there. That was really nice. Poor old Davey Todd, just desperate to win this race. That bike, that Ducati, is such a fast machine, but he's down and out. I saw Mike Brown go really wide as well.
Everybody was in there a little bit warm anyway, and then Adam McLean just comes in. This is Mike Brown we're on board with. Wow, look at those shots. The onboard boys deserve a commendation for that. Our onboard cameras absolutely caught that perfectly.
Paget machine goes down as well. So this has left number 47, Richard Cooper, way out in front. Michael Dunlop, number 6 there, you can see. And that is Peter Hickman. So this is going to be the battle, but such a shame for Todd, who finished second in the race before.
Well, it's pretty much ruined this Supersport race right at the start, because the favourite men are out of it as it is at the minute, all at York Corner. 4-lap race, of course, here as we go over the Link Road and down to the Ballysally roundabout. Richard Cooper has been let off the hook a little bit on the Yamaha. The R6, well, he'll be leading his way into this. He won't be aware of what's gone on at the moment. He will have seen all of that because he got such a poor start.
Yeah.
But he won't be aware of what's coming from behind him.
Quite surprising, and not many of these guys have pit boards around here. Maybe he'll get a glance over his shoulder. He certainly won't hear anyone behind him, because it looks to me he's got like a 5-second advantage already.
Fresh air in front for Richard Cooper, and he's way out front on this opening lap then, as we find the slipstream and make it up the inside. We're looking at Paul Jordan on the Jackson Racing machine, and through
Jeremy McWilliams.
It is. McWilliams is there as well. The 99 of Jeremy McWilliams, or Jeremy McWilliams. He's not had a happy time here, has he? He lost a bit of linkage earlier on and lost time on the track as well. So this really is the first time he's been able to use that bike in anger.
Absolutely. McWilliams was down on row 6, so he's kind of in that little escapade that went on in turn 1. He must have made up a lot of time.
He's certainly got the experience for that. So Jeremy McWilliams, 60 years old now, folks. Just think about that.
Age doesn't matter according to him, and it doesn't, because he still rides regularly. There's a lot of testing for KTM, but riding the big baggers and everything else. On board with Jeremy McWilliams right now.
Through the chicane then, the exit is fast. You're just flat out on it. Now then, we head down towards Portrush and the Metropole corner. And that's where we get all the action, usually with Supersport. 6 abreast down here into the braking area. We're missing a few riders that we would have quite liked to have seen part of that as they spread out across the braking area, looking for the least bumpy area.
Connor Cummins.
Up the inside, Connor Cummins, does he make that stick? That's a tight line. He's out wide though. He had to go wide surely as he came in a little hot. He lost a place, but he'll be making that perfect next time round. Here's Richard Cooper again.
Listen to this now over the top. Inch perfect.
Over the coast road, all on his own. This is where Cooper and Supersport, he said when he came here he wanted to win 4 races, the 2 Super Twins and the 2 Supersports. He's not won a Supersport race yet.
No,
that's
right.
what he's been looking for.
That's the advantage he has. That's got to be 7 or 8 seconds. Michael Dunlop completely buried underneath there, on board with Paul Jordan. Jackson Racing Prosper 2. And again, we get a reflection on McWilliams looking up the inside as they go down to Juniper. Not quite going to do it this time around.
Yeah, but the right idea, up the inside of Juniper, that is where it's all going to be fixed at the end of a 4-lap race. And look at this little bun fight we've got going on here then.
Oh, incredible, isn't it? Paul Jordan, Connor Cummins, Michael Evans, McWilliams, Gary McCoy, they're all in there.
Coming to complete their lap at the end of the 9 miles here into the final left-hand, and then they flick it right and across the finishing line, just there.
Connor Cummins, big lad for a 600, isn't he? I mean, he's just so tall, it's hard to bury himself underneath. Behind him is that number 22 machine there, Paul Jordan, we're looking back at.
The man from Macrofell, 32 years old now, looking at number 17, that is Gary McCoy from Dungannon.
This is a sudden battle, isn't it? It really is. This
is
the position really for 5th, 4th, 5th and 6th.
Who's it going to be? We wonder. Michael Dunlop's having a very lonely time. Well, we've come away from that because, fortunately, we're about to get some proper live action here at the Causeway Coast Circuit. And as I try and get my microphone back in my face as opposed to running around my ear. So there we go then. We're about to get underway with the Super Sports practice session. And a long delay, Steve, I've got to say. And I'm slightly surprised that we've not had any news from the circuit regarding what the problem is.
Well, if it's oil, we'll probably see some dust coming up very shortly. Last year, the winner was Cooper in that race we were watching there, and then Todd, who got bowled off, won the second race on the Saturday.
Let's have a look and see what sort of times they were doing here last year in the Super Sports. I mean, it was Richard Cooper who was the fastest man around here last year, 118 miles an hour, almost dead, 4 minutes 33.6. So Cooper was the man from Todd and Mike Brown last year. Michael Dunlop fourth fastest, Adam McLean and Paul Jordan fifth and sixth. So we'll keep an eye on quite where that heads now that we're into this practice session. And everybody sorts themselves out down in pit lane, but no real indication here in the commentary box as to why it took so long to clean up whatever it was that needed cleaning up. So those of you around the track that are slightly frustrated, we share that here. Unfortunately, Stephen Watson gets the lowdown on what's going on in the Milwaukee camp.
It's Michael Dunlop's machine. Ducati. Looks like they've put a different tank on it, a bigger tank.
Maybe just a suit where he...
well, yeah, there is that. Shifting the weight around and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it
clearly looks like it's been fabricated recently, doesn't it?
It's one of the biggest differences, isn't it, nowadays with, you know, that's not really, it's just really a cover. And you can pretty much manipulate it wherever you want it to suit the rider. Back in the day, we just had a dirty, great big tank full of fuel underneath us. That was I can't believe it. Even when you pushed them around with a full tank of fuel, they felt unstable, if you remember, because all the weight was right up heavy. Instead of being under your bum where it all is nowadays and stuck in a tank there. You guys are lucky, right?
Yeah,
you are up to date very much. Talking to Jenny Tibbeth, who's still with us here in the commentary box. I mean, Super Sports, we were talking about it while we were on that break, Jenny. They are just lovely motorbikes to ride, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Once you jumped off your superbike onto a Super Sport machine, they just feel tiny. With, you know, obviously a little bit less, well, quite a bit less power, and just easy to manoeuvre, just lighter bike, and just lovely to ride around here. I imagine it would be just the dream bike to have.
Still remarkably, last year, Richard Cooper did 187 miles an hour on a Super Sport bike. It's outrageous rate.
And they're all, I mean, the power to weight situation and the amount of revs they're allowed to use out of the rev range is all electronically controlled on every one of these motorbikes to make them fairly even, depending on what manufacturer you're on. But they will always have, some will have a little bit more grunt low down, like the Triumph, for instance, or Ducati, but they are six, even though it's 100 years old. I don't know how old it is really, but it is really, really aged, isn't it, an R6 Yamaha? Yet there's still a motorbike that steers really well, and top end wise, they're not bad.
Yeah, and we heard it from some of the guys. It is about top end here because you might lose a little bit of grunt coming out the corners. Michael out on the Ducati out of the corners, but once you get in that high speed stuff, the slipstream brings it back to you.
The balancing rules are really, really good though. So one of the things with the Ducati, obviously that does have the advantage out the corner with the low down torque. That's one of the things that they actually dial out of the Ducati to make it even with the R6. So the R6 is like the benchmark, and then all the bikes are kind of powered to meet that. So I think it still does have a slight advantage, but not as much as you did expect.
Scott Smart, that's the man who sorts it all out. Scott Smart, who you remember was a great 250 rider in this country. I'll say it because he'd hate me for it. The nephew, obviously, of Barry Sheen, your best mate, Stevie. So,
and son of Paul Smart,
and obviously sister Maggie Sheen. We end up in that situation with Scott, who. He is smart by name and nature. He really does have it worked out, right? He's not everybody's cup of tea, that's for sure.
No, but he's a very clever man.
He is.
Make wiring looms and doing all sorts of
things. And he's been FIM, and he's been really good at making this balancing for the Super Sports and other things as well. He's consulted on quite a lot of stuff that needs consulting on when it comes to the technicalities of our sport.
Yeah. And it is making it slightly more interesting, opening up the class.
Oh, it'd be a nightmare otherwise. Can you imagine Ducatis would be...
I haven't seen one. I don't know if the same rules apply here, but there's a couple of 750 Suzukis, the older 750 Suzukis in Super Sports, isn't there?
Yeah.
But, and very competitive.
There's one.
Oh yeah, you're right, there is. There you go. Thank you. Gary McCoy.
Not the Gary McCoy. This is a Gary... Well, he is the Gary McCoy.
He's going sideways a lot.
Yeah.
Mad Cross Racing.
Even when you look at these things, they're so nimble through the chicanes. The flip-flop from from side to side. The Supersport bikes just seem to be... There's Peter Hickman on the 666 for this particular round. He's out on the Trooper Triumph by Peter Hickman Racing, PHR Performance as it's known. His own performance shop.
I think we said this last year, he's got the smallest fairing for the biggest bloke.
I've never understood why there aren't more aero devices on leathers. You know, because it seems to be a natural cheat for me to have some wings on your arms or something to make it work a little bit more.
If you're falling off and then set off up into the sky. But I have.
That's just conjured up a few pictures. You can buy those suits, can't you? Wing suits.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want them unless it cleared you to the nearest part of the sea. But I do notice, and I know it's very awkward to get leathers that fit you perfectly, but you often see them flapping around a bit, don't you? And that must slow you down a fair bit. It's a compromise being comfortable and not having leathers that are too loose on you.
Hello, top up coming here from the bricklayer.
Energy food. Get a bit.
He's a big lad, John McGuinness. So, Nick Morgan, grey hair and glasses and shorts on. Oh, he's declared summer in Northern Ireland. That is his Kawasaki, tuned by MSS Kawasaki, of course. It's Nick Morgan in the background there. And he's working over here with Alistair Seeley.
Looks like he's running them legs in for a turkey.
Yeah, one without any feathers. Yeah, lovely. Nicholas Edward Morgan, otherwise known as Nem, a legend in our sport, really good guy, and known and respected by all. His son, actually, Max, was in that 11 pile-up at Oulton Park and was part of the melee, and Max is having quite a hard time with what's happened, as obviously a lot of people are, and Nick's over here racing, so it's quite a tough time for the Morgan family at the moment in those circumstances. So thoughts again going out to everybody that was involved in the big pile up at Oulton Park in the Supersport race there. Tom Tunstall, who was seriously injured, although the prognosis from what I read this morning seems to be reasonably good for Tom. He should make a full recovery eventually, and obviously with two young men losing their lives there at Oulton Park, it's a devastating situation for everybody within BSB. You know, we know how close that community is. It's a very close community.
Paul Williams, number 38, just goes through on the Triumph.
Seems to be too much of REM over at the moment, so yeah, we know how close that community is. We'll see how they...
Another red flag.
Yeah, it is a red flag. I was going to say what's going on.
I saw everyone touring, but...
Yeah. So Paul Williams from Wales on another Triumph. Well, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, we've been we've been lucky with the weather, but unlucky as hell with these red flags. This is the third one of the day so far. We had two in the Superbike. Superbike was called short in the end. This should have started at 11 o'clock, this Supersport session, and we are now 1:15, and the final session today should have been at 1:30, the Super Twins. We've got Superstock to come yet and Super Twins. That was supposed to start at 1:30. Well, we're nearly on top of that, and we've not even got the second session more than a lap underway. So it seems you can't have everything here in Northern Ireland. We've got the weather, but we haven't got the luck at the moment.
No, it's a shame because everyone's desperate to get out there, and I think everyone would I'm hoping we can squeeze the other classes in. Super Stock. If you had to say one class that's, if you had to drop one, it'd be Super Stock, because they're generally the easiest way to set up, as Jenny's alluded to, and we all know that they are road bikes.
And most of those guys would have been out in the Superbike session anyway, so
and it's always a Superbike that's the hardest thing to set up.
Well, red flag again. That's got our lot scurrying around down in pit lane. They thought they were getting a cup of tea, didn't they, while this session got underway. Bad luck to Stephen Watson and co down there. They'll be rushing around now to try and find out exactly what's going on for us up here in the commentary position. We look down towards the start line from our commentary position. It's a great place to be. But we know not why this one has been red flagged as well just yet. Hopefully it's not more oil. Blimey. We've had two sessions that have been red flagged because of oil, or one session that's been red flagged twice because of oil. This will be driving Mervyn
mad.
Yeah, you can see it's getting warmer and warmer. There's an ambulance coming in now, but it's getting warmer and warmer. Heat haze out there, which is lovely to see here at the Northwest.
Quite unusual as well. There's our commentary box, you can see it just there,
Yeah,
the BBC Sport area with the little blue shuttered doors. Up on the first level we are. It's the only time you and I are elevated.
Yeah, and wishing actually we were out there, I think, haven't we? As I said before, there's been years when we've been huddled in here nice and warm and everyone's guests like Jenny's like to be here. But at the moment, Stephen is down with Alistair Seeley. Any more news from down there, Stephen?
Yes, I am indeed. Alistair Seeley, record holder, is with me. It's a little bit frustrating, the stop-start nature today.
Yeah, obviously I'm not sure red flags have been put out, but we had an issue there anyway. We just had to come in. There was a wee film on the visor, we forgot to take it off, so a bit of a schoolboy error, but you have to do everything and try everything once, don't you? Well, hopefully not do that again. So
is this was the issue here? Was it? Yeah.
A little culprit, yeah, but my fault. Probably I should have shut the visor before I went just to make sure I could see vision. So pulled the tear offs off, and I was no better. So then I